Bank. At a low 4.99% APR, fixed for 1 year, it's a smart way to add ho-ho-ho without budget uh-oh. To apply for a holiday loan, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or FHB.com. For more information, call 1-877-640-2337. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
A nice drop at the gas pumps on the road to Thanksgiving. The price down 12 cents to a national average of $2.72 per gallon. That's according to the Lundberg survey, which tracks prices nationwide. Hundreds falling ill in a Carolina church barbecue.
If you tried the Brunswick stew at a North Carolina church barbecue back on November 1st, chances are you're sorry you did. Cabarrus County health officials say in the days immediately following the food fest at the Poplar Tent Presbyterian Church in Kannapolis, nearly 300 people were sickened. The barbecue pork and coleslaw were also tested, but the stew proved to be contaminated with the C. perfringens bacteria. Those affected usually come down with cramps and diarrhea within 24 hours, and it lasts for 24 hours. The C. perfringens bacteria is usually found in foods that have been prepared in large quantities, then kept warm for hours prior to serving.
Fox's Karen McHugh. Going viral on social media, this expression of kindness in California in the aftermath of the state's deadliest wildfire.
This high school girls volleyball team from Paradise lost everything in the Camp Wildfire, including their uniform, shoes, and equipment. Still, the girls were determined to show up for their divisional semifinal game against Forest Lake Christian School. Stunned when they arrived to find new uniforms and other gear in the visitors' locker room, along with clothes, toiletries, and other necessities. And after the game, the girls informed the community raised
cards and cash and gift cards in the amount of a little over $16,000.
The Paradise coach overwhelmed.
Your community is awesome. We will be forever grateful.
Paradise lost the game, but found a lot of new friends. Jane Metzler, Fox News.
A secret Santa brings an early present to shoppers at a Walmart in Derby, Vermont. Store officials saying the man paid off all of the items on layaway. I'm Steve Rappaport, and this is Fox News.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Hafa Day, I'm Rod Boss. As the new president and CEO of Docomo Pacific, I want to personally thank you for voting us Pika's Best mobile, internet, and cable service provider for 3 years in a row. For friends and families serving in the armed forces, you voted us Best of the Pacific again this year. Thanks.
Ask your friends and family to come over and give our mobile network a try, and we'll give them 3 months free. We have select devices up to 50% off. Sign up today. You plus Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidigli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Havo Select Care continues providing great benefits for federal employees and annuitants. A wide choice of medical providers on and off island team, an expanded local network of urgent and emergency care providers, free access to our gym partners. Save on your purchases with our Calvo's Lifestyle Club partners. With all these great benefits, enrolling with Calvo's Select Care is that much easier. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today. Call 477-9808 for more information.
Gym membership and Calvo's Lifestyle Club are non-FEHB benefits.
Your first look at 93.3 The Point News is brought to you by Guam Hearing Doctors. Call the experts at Guam Hearing Doctors if you're worried about your hearing. The evaluation is simple and painless.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Vice President Mike Pence making a brief 3-hour stopover on Guam yesterday afternoon to greet service members and their families. Air Force Two touched down at Anderson Air Force Base shortly after 5 p.m. Governor Eddie Calvo, CNMI Governor Ralph Torres, and Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield were on hand to greet him. Governor Calvo spoke briefly to the vice president about some outstanding funding issues GovGuam has with Washington, including reimbursements for Medicaid and compact funding. The governor said he would be making one more visit to Washington before his term is over to meet with Pence, and he hopes also to meet with President Trump to talk further about those funding issues. Pence arrived on Guam a day after announcing the U.S. is collaborating with Papua New Guinea and Australia to build a naval base on Manus Island, which previously served as a U.S. military base during World War II. In his speech on Saturday, broadcast by Australian TV, Vice President Pence said that the U.S. would work with Australia and Papua New Guinea to protect the sovereignty and maritime rights of Pacific Islands. And referring to China's warnings against U.S. military flyovers and naval exercises in the disputed South China Sea, Vice President Pence said the U.S. would continue to fly and sail wherever international law allows and our national interest demands. Here on Guam, a man died from injuries yesterday afternoon after suffering that he suffered when his car collided with a bus on Route 15 in Manilao. The collision was reported about 4:50 in the afternoon. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau reporting that a 2013 Starcraft bus was traveling south on Route 15 by the former Andy South housing area when the operator of a 2008 Hyundai Accent traveling in the opposite direction crossed over into the oncoming lane and the collision occurred. The driver of both the bus and the vehicle were rushed to GRMC. The driver of the Hyundai pronounced dead shortly after 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. His name has not been released. The condition of the driver was not released. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. We'll have more news after this.
We're surrounded by sound. There are sounds that you need to hear. There are sounds that you want to hear. And there are sounds that you long to hear. Hear it all, louder and clearer than ever before. If you or someone you know has a hard time hearing, Guam Hearing Doctors can help using state-of-the-art test gear to evaluate your hearing and coming up with a plan to make your life better by making your hearing better. Call Guam Hearing Doctors for an appointment or visit them on the web at guamhearingdoctors.com.
The season of giving is here, and the stations of Choice Broadcasting want to give back. 93.3 The Point, Boss 104, Star 101, and Lux Guam present Charity of Choice. Each of our radio personalities have chosen a Guam charity that they would like to benefit.
And I chose Habitat for Humanity. Tune in daily to see how you can help.
Charity of Choice 2018 is brought to you by Choice Broadcasting Company, Lux Guam, American Water Tech, and the station that gives from the heart, 93.3 The Point.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 6 a.m. Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio said he will compete in a runoff election if presumptive Governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero's vote count dips below the 50% level after all the outstanding ballots have been counted and the final outcome certified by the Guam Election Commission. When asked if he would carry on with his campaign if a runoff were declared, Lieutenant Governor said, of course, absolutely. Tenorio told the Guam Daily Post that he's still waiting for the certification results. He spoke following a proclamation signing on Friday at the Guam Museum declaring this school year a celebration of the culture of the Chamorro people. It was his first public appearance since the November 6 general election. Tenorio placed second in that three-way race with just over 26% of the vote, far behind Leon Guerrero, who won 50.7% of the ballots cast. However, roughly 300 absentee and provisional ballots remain outstanding and won't be tabulated or certified until this Friday. If enough of those votes go to Tenorio or to the write-in candidacy of Senator Frank Huggen Jr., Leon Guerrero's margin might fall below the 50% threshold required for a victory and thus trigger a runoff. Guam's newly elected delegate to Congress says he plans to join the Hispanic Caucus. He told the Guam Daily Post that he looks forward to joining the Hispanic Caucus and working with that key coalition to advance shared issues. San Nicolas upset longtime delegate Madeline Bordallo in the August primary and went on to win the general election against Doris Flores Brooks. San Nicolas told the Post that being a freshman member of Congress with a lot of other first-timers can be a plus. With a large freshman class representing nearly 20% of the House, we are well-positioned in this season of change, said San Nicolas. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at the weather.
Well, I think we're going to do Ray and Mike and Ken from the National Weather Service and get an early morning update here on what is happening with the system 92 Whiskey. That's 92W. Ken, good morning, and welcome to the broadcast.
Oh, good morning.
Always nice to get some expert advice on what the latest is on 92W. I'm going to go and take advantage of the video systems that we have here, and for the benefit of our viewers on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, actually show the latest satellite imagery, and then you can give me an explanation of what it is that they're looking at.
Okay. It's well, what we're looking at down there is down south of Pohnpei. Got a little weak circulation that's down there. And right now, it's the circulation itself is pretty weak and diffuse and hard to figure out exactly where that circulation center is. So it's pretty weak right now. But our computer models are, depending on which ones we look at, because we've got a number of different ones, and different ones are correct at different times. And right now, it's up in the air on exactly what's going to happen on it, but all of the models are predicting that this thing's going to develop somewhat, at least, and move up towards our area and move through south of Guam.
So expect the development of the storm something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Are any models currently in agreement on what the pacing is going to be, what the timing is going to be, and about how close this might get to the Marianas?
They're all pretty good agreement on where it's going to go and when. And they're all, it's pretty close to heading south of Guam and around Thursday afternoon, Thanksgiving Day.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, guys. When you say south of Guam, any predictions this early on whether it's going to be near to the south of Guam or hundreds of miles to the south of Guam? Any guidance on that so far?
Well, not really. It's really rather difficult to tell exactly where it's going to go.
The cone of uncertainty gets pretty wide there.
Yeah. When it's in the stage where it's at now, the cone of variability is huge.
Yeah.
But once it starts developing and starts moving out, then we can get a better handle on what it's going to do.
All right, so maybe another 24 hours or something like that, but the word out to the community is make preparations now for a storm going to be in our area around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and what we like to say is prepare, but don't spend any money yet.
I'll let you know when it's time to go out and get biscuito and Spam and the rest of the canned meats that we forage on when it's time for the living like a caveman. I don't know that it would come to that. Any predictions on what the storm's strength could be by the time it gets out here?
Well, that's where there's a lot of variability. Some of this, the one model puts it as a typhoon, and another one just puts it as maybe a weak depression as it moves south. So it's really up in the air right now.
All right. So, again, just be aware 92 Whiskey is in the area. Do we anticipate that it's going to get a little bit more of a defined name here in the next day or two?
Well,
it's got to pick up. It's got to do some development before it does anything else, right?
Yeah, it's got to develop before it gets in. It's going to get numbered first. It's like right now when anytime you see a number like the 92W, That's just what we call an invest area. It's just an area to watch, and we use those numbers over and over. Actually, they come out of Joint Typhoon Warning Center, and they just repeat those numbers. We just, it's just an area we're looking at. Now, when we get to the ones like right now, we have 33W, which is the depression that's out to the west of Palau.
Mm-hmm.
The next one would be 34W. That's what they'll do when if this one develops into anything that they need to issue a warning on, like for a depression, it'll be numbered 34W. So until it gets that number, it's really not much of anything.
I got my fingers crossed it stays an invest. 92W, 6:17 in the morning. Ken, I really appreciate your time and your explanation of what it is that we're looking at in the satellite maps. I'm going to hand everything over to Michael Knight now, my own National Weather Service, my in-office National Weather Service, to give me an idea of what the weather is going to be like near term. Partly cloudy today, isolated showers, winds out of the northeast up to about 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs 90, a max afternoon heat index around 102, and overnight lows of about 79 degrees. We'll take a look at the weather radar for us right now and see what this is going to mean for the next hour or so.
Right on, and I am going to want to go back to that satellite in just a moment. But right now, as we can see, just some low-level, just isolated, very isolated showers rolling through and not really coming over us. Looks like it's going to pass down to the south. Part of this just the greater monsoonal flow that's behind 33W, which is starting to move into the Philippines now, and the trough that tracks back behind it. Looking at the satellite here, if you notice right up around Tinian and Saipan, there's a line of clouds dipping down, from the top right to the lower left. That's actually a shear line that has made it down this far south. That's why it's so difficult to predict these tropical systems this time of year. If it stays weak, this shear line could provide enough dry air and a little bit of push to keep it down south of here and very far away where we won't even know there's a system down there.
That's what I'd like to see. Obviously, that would be my best Thanksgiving scenario. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a problem making turkey sandwiches around here for a couple of days. All right, 6:19, that's plenty of news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, they place roots.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
It's 6:19 in the morning, 888-8255. Wait a second, hold on. I was going to do something on Facebook Live. I was probably going to tell you about Kings in a second, but I got distracted because I note my cousin Troy is on Facebook Live this morning, as you might want to tune in on the Facebook and see what it is that he's already talking about here. I'm going to need to talk about getting yourself some Salisbury steak at King's. That's the big lunchtime deal. They got a different one every single day of the week. Tomorrow's going to be beef steak tomorrow. We've got pork sinigang on Wednesday. If you don't have any plans on Thanksgiving, you might want to swing by there and have meatloaf for Thanksgiving at King's.
Super Typhoon U2 has become one of the strongest storms on record to date. APL recognizes the damage that U2 has left behind and sees an opportunity to help our neighboring brothers and sisters in the CNMI. We humbly ask for the community's assistance in providing donations and supplies to our fellow islanders. All supplies can be dropped off to our APL office or coordinated for pickup and loading. Call 588-4651 for more details and to learn how you can help today.
Let's see if I can do this off the top of my head. No script required. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar. American President Lines, they're shipping the future. And American WaterTech. Smarter water, better water.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Portions of the program also brought to you by my friends over at Wendy's. I know they're my friends because they've put together burgers exactly the way I like them. You know, people do that and say, Ray, what's your favorite meal? Like of all time? You know, if somebody else is buying lobster thermidor, I love me a good lobster, and they're so hard to get around here on Guam. So it's not one of those things that I can indulge in all the time. But if I'm buying, let's go to Wendy's. Because they got salads over there, and they got these great burgers, including one. They could have just stopped at classic bacon cheeseburger, and everybody would have been happy. You get the Wendy's meat, you get the Applewood smoked bacon on top of that, melty cheese, and it's so good. But they said we can make this better. They've got a thing called Sawsum sauce, and it's difficult for me to describe the flavor of the Sawsum sauce other than it's good. And you bite into this thing and always ask for extra. And when they say, well, how much extra do you want? Just say, can I get a chili cup full? So I can dip the burger into the Sawsum sauce. Really, you got to try it quick before they run out at Wendy's.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
My God, I'm so tired. I'm so happy to be back at work because I am so tired from everything that was going on and taking place on a wild and woolly weekend that I think everybody had here on Guam. And frankly, there's some of this stuff is still happening. It's still going on out there. To give you some explanations on that as we move forward through Monday and then take us into what is it is going to be a short week. I've titled the show today, "Short Week, Make This Monday Count." But you know what? I don't know how to change it once the feed has already started. I got to figure out how to do that because what I really wanted to call the show after having put that in was let's do some van damage here. Let's do some damage. We got a short week, and there's only a little bit of time that we're all going to have together before we jump into family stuff and maybe storm prep activities and all of that. So start thinking about some trouble that you might be able to make here in the next little bit. Bob Kelly from Saipan, is that what he says on Facebook Live? Well, stay close to the phone here because I might want to call you and ask you about something I read. In the last couple of days here about the connectivity that comes through the island, and there was a couple of numbers and a couple of phrases I didn't quite understand, and I thought, you're my telecom guy, you're my technology go-to guy, so I'm going to ask you about that in a couple of minutes. Anyway, Michael Knight, obviously Mike's side, watching the weather and keeping an eye on radars and satellite imagery and this 92 whiskey that is out there. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that Ken explained that. They just kind of reuse these numbers all the time.
They really do, yeah. It's from 90 to 99, then they just redo them because you'll never have 10 systems out there all at once. Okay. So they can do that, and they just kind of regurgitate those. It's the ones that matter are the 30 series numbers, or they start at 1, but they go up to about 30. I mean, we're about to do 34 if this turns into a tropical
storm that it might eventually get a name. Okay, yeah. So it has not yet done that. It's a circulation system that they're looking at. They anticipate that it is going to develop and move towards the Mariana Islands. It is projected right now to go south of the island, but who knows how far away south of the island is and what the strength of the storm is going to be. The cone of uncertainty very, very wide where it gets that far out. So at least start mentally making the preps for it. And have a couple of backups. I mean, we all want to have that. Let's get the entire family together around a table, and there's turkey and stuffing and gravy and all of that. You might need to have a plan B, Kings. So just keep that in your head as we continue to talk about all of this stuff. 6:25 in the morning. So they got Michael Knight over there. Kevin Kerrigan on this side. Kevin got a chance. Did you meet the vice president, Kevin?
I waved to him.
Did he wave back?
He did.
Did he do one of those things with the little, did he do the, I'm thinking about you, my heart's out for you, Kev. Well, that might be all we got. So that was the big adventure over the weekend, right? Was waiting on Pence to come out here?
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. But we did get some audio from the flight line.
We did, yes. We talked to the governor and CNMI Governor Torres and Admiral Chatfield.
Okay. Is that Governor-elect Torres now? I mean, he's the governor.
He's still the governor.
But the governor-elect, he gets picked up for another term
He
there.
did, yeah.
Some outstanding work in the wake of the typhoon, the super typhoon that went through there. But I'll tell you why it's interesting. Obviously, the vice president in town, but there's already people that are ticked off, feeling like we've had another round of the snubbery. He's come all the way to Guam, tip of the spear. Americans that live here, and who did he get to talk to? Just the guys on the base. Oh well, 6:26 in the morning. Should it be oh well? Should there be more of that? Hey, Superintendent John Fernandez is there. I see you online. We're going to call you up later on because I got a couple of questions about there seems to be this big flap now going on about the IIAAG, and you've got chicken pox at Maria Uzoa, and there's a few other things that I think are going to be interesting, including see what your wife knows about Christmas trees, would you? And the availability thereof. It's 6:27. While I got a couple of minutes, let me take care of the who here on the Facebook Live. And shall we go?
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Mark Cruz, one of the first guys to sign up this morning. Ismael Velez as well. And today he wants to wish a happy anniversary to my amazing wife, Lisa Velez Napati, whose dad once explained to me that their last name translates from Chamorro into the English phrase, to cause pain. Napati. So I took that as a hint, and I'm glad to say that after 13 years together, 7 years of marriage and 2 kids, I've been free of pain. Congratulations to the both of you on your anniversary. There's Carm Leon Guerrero, Vince Borja Polino, Kenny Williams is there, Greg Massey watching, Mindy Pajella is there as well, Adonis Mendiola, and Vivian Sablan. Do I have Melina Montaña up the street listening to the broadcast this morning? Carm Leon Guerrero, like I said, from all the way in Honolulu, Hawaii. One of their star broadcasters, used to be a star broadcaster here on Guam. KC Roel Bejarana is tuned into Facebook Live this morning. I see Bob Kelly, Alfredo Mendoza, Yoich Ringil, and Yoich, again, thanks very much for bringing in the president, former president of Palau, Johnson Toribio, into the studio on Friday. We never got around to talking about the speech that he made the other night at the university. It's like he just wanted a little reunion trip, right? Hey, how's it going? What have you been up to? This is what I've been up to, and these are the cases that I've been trying out there. It was nice. Speaking about some of my favorite Palauans, Robinson Reamers is watching this morning. Robinson, you got to get yourself back here to Guam because I've got some kitchen work that requires your very specific skills, if you know what I mean. I got Dora Marie Figueger, Jeff Ojeda waving good morning, Juanita Machi, Anita Muffness, and the Valentine's Eyes. Johnson Nicholas says, here's to a great week, Guam. It depends on how you looked at it and what's got your scruples all scuffed up this morning. Ken LG watching a bill over at the legislature that we've had our eye on for some time. I see Bob Lizama there and Alex Nicosia Ridge, Mary Park, Auntie Lou Sanchez, Johnny Ray Taitano says, good morning. Johnny Ray also got treated to some of the same kind of celebrity love that I got the other day with those 2 beauty queens that came in, the Shop Guam ambassadors. Well, many of them also met John Ray and also met John Ray's Carabao, and there's pictures, should be pictures floating around, definitely on Instagram of all of that. Cousin Tommy Barcinas is there, Carl Facuda, Dave Angel. Huffa, Dave, nice to see you there, buddy. Doris Mendiola, Charlene Marcia So, Melissa Blas Scheibel, and like I said, Cousin Troy's out there. John Rager says, good morning. Thanks for the support on Saturday at the Father Duenas 5K and the Phoenix Challenge hosted by the class of 1998. You know what, John? I terrific time. Obviously, I was very thrilled with it because I came in first in my division. That's always nice. What was even nicer was they had beer there and it wasn't. I mean, we're not talking about. This is not gas station beer that they had there either. I mean, these guys came through with this modern times and a couple of different flavors of the modern times. That was. They need to do that at every race. They had to do that for 2Ks. If you ask me. Oh, don't bother checking the IDs.
You know, if you drink the beer before the race, it makes it seem such a short race.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely terrific, and I had a wonderful time. It's just odd the sheer number of people that kept referring to me as sir. I guess I have that look about me. I have that just call him sir look, and there were a few people that I actually had to say, you don't really have to call me sir. I'm alumni, class of 1980, and they thought, wow, you're the oldest one here. That's not entirely true.
And they still call you sir.
They still say, sir, can I get you? That's fine. If you're going to call me sir, wash the car. Who have I got there? Cousin Troy, as I said, John Regis, Vivian Castro, Eunice Mendiola. This is what Troy was writing about. I don't, it's a little long, but let me read it. Following his loss to JFK in the 1960 election, this is a little-known fact he says about Richard Nixon. Following his loss to JFK in the 60 election, there was this little town somewhere in America that had a contested election. There was a potential that this town could turn a state, and that would turn the election. He was vice president at the time. President Eisenhower's office wanted to do what they could to help their man, but before they could, Nixon got on the phone to Washington and told everyone, stand down. He said the continuity of the American government through its free and fair elections should never be in doubt. He put his country before himself. The fact that such a stark contrast can be made between Richard Nixon and Ray Tenorio should probably tell Tenorio something. Oh, there it is. There it is. He started a little bit early here this morning, 6:32, but there it is. He first. That's why it's always fun to see. You never know what it is. I see Cousin Troy's name there, and his name there was bandying about Cousin Troy. I need to tell you this. There was a conversation. I can't tell you where I was, who I was having the conversation with, because I think there's still some people that would like to be a little bit anonymous in some of their thoughts.
Wait, I found a way we can say their name.
What's that?
Yeah,
okay, good.
I found a way. Hold on, let me see.
This is going to require. You sure?
Yeah.
We're going to do farmyard?
No, that's her name.
No, because that hurts my ears when you do that. Anyway, so we're in conversation about the possibilities of the next administration and some of the rumors that are already floating around. So I'm asking Troy here on Facebook Live because one of the rumors that I heard was that he is going to be running the press room for Lou and Josh. Can you confirm? And a little bit further down the list here, he says, whoever takes that job, God bless them. That is a public service. He says no. Troy Torres, LOL at Cousin Ray. No, he will not be running the press office over at the incoming Lou and Josh administration. But there's a couple of interesting rumors that are floating around. I cannot get confirmed. Tom Adda over at the port and Roy Respicio at the airport, because apparently Roy knows everything about running an airlines because he was in the Youth Congress.
That's the rumor.
You're hearing that too. 6:33 in the morning. Tell you what, you got plenty of other stuff. We'll get into the zone of fact here. Headlines from the Guam Daily Post and Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, at least one ship carrying Agent Orange did stop at Apra Harbor en route to Vietnam more than 50 years ago. But according to a U.S. Government Accountability Office report released on Friday, there is no evidence that indicates that the toxic cargo of Agent Orange was offloaded on Guam. However, the report does acknowledge that Agent Orange components were used on Guam in some commercial herbicides available at that time. The GAO report cites NAVFAC studies conducted in 1999 and 2009, which found that Agent Orange components like 2,4-D were used on island and sprayed along power lines and substations for weed control. While the GAO report did not confirm the herbicide was used or stored on island, a veterans advocate and attorney said confirmation of its chemical components and use of herbicides on Guam is enough reason to seek legal action. Some veterans who served on Guam claim their illnesses stem from exposure to Agent Orange chemicals while they were here. Governor Calvo has declared this coming Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, a GovGuam holiday, and that's when the Guam Election Commission plans on tabulating the remaining absentee and provisional ballots and certifying the general election results. GEC Executive Director Maria Pangilinan says the commission has received 340 absentee ballots as of November 15th. Another 280 absentee ballots are still outstanding. In addition to certifying the vote this Friday, GEC will conduct a recount for the 15th and 16th place senatorial candidates. Jose Terlahi finishing 15th in the general election. Celestine Babauta came in 16th, 72 votes behind Terlahi. That falls within the 2% difference that requires a recount. Guam Department of Education announcing on Friday afternoon that it's working with public health to address 7 cases of chickenpox among students at Maria Ujoa Elementary School in Dededo. Guam DOE sent out letters to school parents informing them about the outbreak and providing information on the virus and vaccination process. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, a chickenpox outbreak in a school is defined as 5 or more cases within a 2-month period in the same school facility. Because chickenpox spreads easily, Public Health is working with the Guam Department of Education to assess the immunization status of all the students at the school. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Shoot, let's do that. iConnect wants you to win big during the holidays with their Connect and Win giveaway. Every new 12-month mobile, internet, and push-to-talk customer is automatically entered into a drawing for a vacay for 2 to Manila, or you go twice. Either they don't really care. Just go have a good time. For details, visit iConnectGuam.com for details.
Circle K now offers Pop's Bake Shop products, cream cheese rolls, malasadas, delicious donuts, and more. Come see why Pop's Bakery is a Southern gem. Circle K, take it easy. Circle K now offers Bento Chef Sushi. Enjoy a selection of sushi, maki, and musubi made fresh every day. Circle K, take it easy.
Did I already put that in the list of things, that list of crap I want Lou and Josh to fix? I wanted to take Pops and have them open a store up north, and then I wanted Jones to open a store down south. Did I put that on the list? I probably should. I'll check. 6:37 in the morning. Our first look at right now traffic on the point. Is there anything that you need to worry about on a Monday as everybody's making their way back to work? Nothing. Don't see anything anywhere. Anderson Air Force Base, Navy Hospital, Big Navy down in Sumai. Don't see anything happening there. I do see a little bit of a line of traffic right now around Price Elementary as people are trying to get from Route 10 onto Route 15 and then through Derry Road. So expect maybe tiny bit of a delay. And it has more to do probably with the street light than it does the sheer number of cars that are out there. Otherwise, everything is looking green this Monday morning. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
Good news, Guam. Now you can design a phone plan that suits your needs by switching to GTA's handset payment option. With HPO, you can take home a new smartphone today and pay it down over 12, 18, or 24 months. You decide. And since there's no contract, you can upgrade phones at any time. So stop waiting. Join the thousands already taking advantage of the most flexible phone plan on Guam. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. GTA, your island, your network.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. Turn it up. Now tell a friend.
Toying away from, can you hear it? Can you feel the magodai that I've got maybe in my voice, and just nuts about being here with you on a Monday morning? And don't ask why. I mean, I had a busy full weekend, as I'm sure everybody else did. Katie Baltazar is online this morning. I see Linda Gabriel, Randy Kruger, and so Yuka Oguma. I didn't see you at Akimatsuri, Yuka. I'm sure you and the family were there. Mingo Ree, Vicky Viganashis Borja, Jules Elmer, John Fernandez, as I said, is there. Former Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez. Good morning, Gov. I see you, and I think about you every time I water the betel nut plants that are eventually going to be going down as straight as a string line at the house. Eric Carlson says, morning from Polaris Point. Imagine that, Kevin, listening all the way down at Polaris Point. How's the internet down there, bro? Always great to keep up to date with you and your show. Valerie Lynn Maigi is there. Brad Hewitt. Lovani. I'm not going to get that name right, but I really want to learn how to say it. Lova and Elijah Santos. Is that a contraction? Is it a husband-wife thing going on? Vivian Sablan. I see Simon Sanchez there. So he's listening on one contraption, and Lou is listening on another. How interesting is that? Joseph Flores, Simone Madroza, Joy Santa Marina, Frankie Gutierrez, and Danny Gange Cruz, and Rico Blankenfloor. I think everybody, most of the normal, not the normal folks. because none of us are normal, is the regular folks are chimed in and noted here this morning. We'll put a little tick mark to signify your attendance this Monday. 20 away from the top of the hour. Haven't had much of a chance to break into what I like to refer to as the table of contents, but I will here momentarily, and it's a fat one, and frankly, for me, it's going to be a fun one. Hey, Ken LG, how you doing here, buddy?
I'm doing fine. There's something you might want to add to your table.
Is it the public hearing on Wednesday on Bill 367?
Nah, even better.
Better?
Yes. Now, you remember that the Calvo Tenorio administration and the 34th legislature were totally caught by surprise by the Trump tax cuts, even though I'd been yelling and screaming at them about it for a year and a half before they went into effect. You remember that?
Everybody knew what was coming.
Except for the administration and the legislature. So now, this morning, all my news feeds have been coming in with the release of the 2019 adjusted tax tables, which to me personally will reduce my taxes by $400.
Cool.
So now the other shoe drops. So we barely got through the budget process, and now already we're looking at a major reduction in revenue coming from taxes once again. But I want to make sure that the incoming administration and the 35th Guam legislature have plenty of time to take a look at these things so they won't be caught surprised and we have these emergency budget bills and emergency tax increases to offset the taxes they didn't see coming.
You know how I read this. It's actually scary to me because it could signal, regardless of whether anybody is out there lighting the fires and banging the drums and ringing the bells, saying alert, alert, alert. I got a feeling this is going to get forgotten all the way through the holidays, and it's going to be the first couple of weeks of calendar year 2019, and people are going to be looking down the road saying, well, we spent everything that we had. And now we're going to see these additional cuts. Is this just in personal taxes withholding?
No. Oh, yeah, it's in personal taxes. But the other shoe that I've been waiting to drop is that 6 months ago, in preparing for the 2020 budget, the administration is targeting 5 to 9% reductions across all programs to offset the $1 trillion operating deficit that the 2018 tax cut caused. So we still got that. When you consider how much of our programs are federally funded, I think we're at like a third of government of Guam's budget is federal funds.
Right. But I mean, we wouldn't start seeing any of that until FY20, right?
Yeah, but you see, I don't know if you had a chance, if you took the time to watch the circus that the budget hearings were this summer, where we had senators going line by line on the employment. Is this employee really valuable? What are the tasks this employee does?
Right.
In an effort to try to reduce government of Guam operating costs, but instead the governor submits like a $953 million budget, and the legislature approved a $957. So we don't quite have the physical discipline to put our house in order yet, because we know that personal income taxes are going to go down again.
Well, that's going to be good news that's good news for you and I. Bad news for the government if they're not going to be taking into account or taking in all of those tax dollars. Then we get hit with the loss of the program's money, and all of these federally funded employees all of a sudden are going to be left scratching their head, wondering whether they've got an escape chute, whether they've got a parachute.
Yeah, and the problem with this is that the increases that the people are going to see are going to be more than offset by the increases in government costs.
Well, we've already seen that. We already saw it. It happened. It happened January of 2018 with an increase in the liquid fuels tax, and then it hit us again in March, April when we went from a 4% gross receipts tax to a 5% gross receipts tax. So that's going to be the salvation. That can, more than anything else, is going to be the salvation, because I can tell this is coming from a place of worry and concern for the government of Guam. And don't you worry about the government of Guam, because all they're going to do between the incoming administration and the 35th Guam legislatures, they're going to hike our taxes again. It would not be out of the question for them to start talking about a 6% BPT.
Well, first they're going to probably try to borrow $400 or $500 million to wipe out the deficit, to set up a rainy day fund, and increase our debt service from 1 in 5 tax dollars to maybe 2 in 5 tax dollars, which would further reduce the operating revenues for government of Guam, because if 2 out of 5 tax dollars collected goes to pay debt service, where are they going to get the money to pay for things like school books? I
told you already. They're going to raise the BPT. That's if you read some of the press releases and dig deep into some of the covenants that the government has signed. One of the reasons why we've got a favorable credit rating is because we don't need to go to anybody else to increase our BPT. We can do that on our own. So if we do run into trouble, the government of Guam isn't going to be holding the bag. The taxpayers will be holding the bag. They can go out and as they have in the budget bill and as they have on their own, increase the BPT. They don't need to go to Vice President Pence. Don't need to meet the guy at the airport to do that.
Yeah, but what we're going to see is acceleration of flight, because, I mean, every day I run into people who talk to me about how they're getting ready to leave or they've already left. And
you talk to the most depressing people.
I know.
You know, listen, buddy. I talk to these Shop Guam ambassadors, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, when you sit there and talk to somebody who's going to sell his business and sell his house, then he's going to take the money and move to the Midwest. Our tax base goes down. All that money doesn't get a couple of spins in our local economy, because now it's going to get spun in some place like Chicago or someplace like that. So what it does is it increases the tax burden on the rest of us, because government of Guam hasn't shown the willingness or ability to reduce operating costs, as we saw in the last budget session. I mean, with all the calamity we were seeing and, the financial crisis and everything, to go from a 953 to a 957, there was no political will in the legislature.
No. Well, and I'll make a point that others have made here before, and I haven't launched into the rants on the table of contents this morning. But Black Friday is a holiday. Black Friday is a GovGuam holiday. And I'll read you the splains from the governor here in just a couple of minutes. But if we've got money, if the government of Guam has got money to give, how many employees are there? 11,000 employees, a day off with pay.
Yeah. It's $1 million.
Okay, so if we've got $1 million laying around that we can give, then I want my BPT lowered. I don't want it refunded to me. Because the fiscal crisis was a fake. I was saying it was a fake the whole time that they were talking about it, and this is just further proof that it was a fake. If it was for real, we'd be doing a whole lot more by way of making sure that the taxpayers were getting their money's worth. I'm trying to figure out how the taxpayers are getting their money's worth out of the government of Guam that is supposed to be in this fiscal crisis. We don't have 2 nickels to rub together, but we got $1 million to let everybody take the day off and go shopping.
I saw an interesting video back in 2015 when I first started bouncing off the legislature in Adelup. It was about, they were interviewing the controller for Puerto Rico, and they said, well, is Puerto Rico bankrupt? He says, no, we're not bankrupt. He says, why aren't you bankrupt? Because, we're not allowed to go bankrupt. We're technically bankrupt. What do you mean technically bankrupt? Well, we can't pay our bills. So when you can't pay your bills, you're technically bankrupt. Government of Puerto Rico is technically bankrupt. We don't pay our bills for 3 or 4 months.
Well, I'm sure everybody's going to get a paycheck.
Well, you know, when you look at that $1 million, that's $1 million that didn't buy medicines that GMH needs. It's $1 million that didn't buy any equipment that GMH needs. It's $1 million that didn't double the amount of books DOE could have ordered. Or $1 million they could have paid the overtime at DOC, because the guys at DOC, you know, they're owed like 3 or 4 months of overtime, but they get like a couple of weeks every couple of months. Get paid a couple of weeks every couple of months. Or it could have bought 30 patrol cars that we badly need, but instead it went to holiday pay.
Where's all that money going to be going? Is actual shopping going on here on Guam, or is that going to go to Amazon.com? Anyway, a couple of thoughts.
It'll either go to Amazon or it'll go to paying utility bills or something. Something the government's not going to get much of a tax reaping on.
Raping. Never mind. Anyway, listen, I got to let you run because I wanted to read this. As I said, it was one of the items on the table of contents, and you've got me sufficiently distracted. I will take a look at what the tax brackets are going to be showing for 2019. Hopefully, somebody through a transition that we will start, I guess, talking about in earnest next week after the Black Friday holiday can figure out what the impact is going to be. Ken, you have a great Monday. I'll see you. 888-8255. And here was the story as it went out Friday. And did I not predict it? I predicted it, right? I said the governor was going to make Black Friday holiday. Said it was going to happen, and sure enough. In the last few years, our economy has grown. Indeed, the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis just confirmed that 2017 saw a growth in Guam's gross domestic product for the 7th year in a row. This performance underscores the strength of our island's economy, particularly when you take into considerations the challenges we faced in 2017. At this point, we are on track for a slight surplus for fiscal year 2018. Wait a second. How did we do that? I thought there was a fiscal crisis. And now we've gone from doom and gloom to there's going to be a surplus? In this last year, we've seen progress in many areas of our government. What? You mean like at GMH? But we've also seen challenges, including the scares of typhoons that didn't hit us. Additionally, many in our community have been working to help our brothers and sisters to the north. And I suppose all of those same people are probably still going to be working on the day after Thanksgiving as well. As such, Governor Calvo exercised his organic authority and signed Executive Order 2018-18, designated November 23rd, the Friday after Thanksgiving, a holiday for the government of Guam. I'm grateful for the thousands of government of Guam employees. Do we give me the solemn music, the piano one? I'm grateful for the thousands of Government of Guam employees who have given their time and service to the island and our region. Their dedication and hard work are fitting of recognition, and they deserve to spend a day with their families to rest and re-energize. The rest of you poor slobs get to pay for it. This holiday is also an opportunity to boost spending and trigger increased revenues. All government offices, except those with critical functions, such as the hospital and public safety agencies, are going to be closed. And there you have it there. There it is. And I'm not the first person to say it, but clearly, if we're on a point now, if we're on track for that slight surplus, we've got $1 million or so that we can spend on a free holiday, then, dude, I'm just saying, can we have the business privilege tax rescinded? Can somebody go out? Today, Monday, there's no reason why somebody at the legislature, and maybe it's going to be somebody that got to keep their job because the voters trusted them to make good decisions with our money, or maybe it's going to be somebody that doesn't have anything left to lose and just do what we used to call a silent goodbye. I can't describe how that works on the radio. Well, I could, but it's childish, so I'm not going to. But just do one of those, just a silent goodbye, and this is the way it's going to be on the way out. This is my last gesture of love for the people of Guam. Even though you didn't bring me back, even though I can't come back, I think there's still something that can be done. 6:54 in the morning, and you will find. It's not often that I disagree with the guys over at the Post in the editorial section, but where is it? Guam, often just a pit stop despite the island's sacrifices for the nation. I know some people were feeling that yesterday. They're going, wait. So the vice president's here, and he's going to come and he's going to touch down. He's going to talk to the guys on base and then split. But what about us? What about us? What do you think happens when he does this? Do you think that we're all just going to go hang out with Pence over at Jimmy D's and play some frisbee with the guy?
He doesn't have any need to meet with the natives in their grass skirts and their little thatched huts.
But it's not even that. It's not even. I'm just trying to put a little bit of reality in this. This is not the first time that the vice president has touched down on a base. In fact, just Google this. Google Pence and then Air Force Base.
You know, he doesn't strike me as being a real social kind of guy.
What are you sitting around going, you know what, can we have tours of Air Force too? Can we just line up all of the school children and we'll go in? I promise I'll keep my hands in my pocket. I won't steal any of the pens or...
I don't know. I'd like to have one of those coasters.
Any of that stuff. But if you Google Pence and Air Force Base, there's any number of stories where you can find that, as an example here, Minot, North Dakota. And he flew into the Air Force Base at Minot Air Force Base. And do you think he met with all of the big shots in the town and hung out and played ultimate frisbee with everybody and gave tours of Air Force 2? No, you know what he did? He gave a speech to the airmen at Minot Air Force Base. There's another story. Mike Pence, Nellis Air Force Base. And so he flew into Nellis. Do you think he was hanging out playing ultimate frisbee with the residents of Nellis and giving Air Force 2 tours? This is where I sit. This is my desk. I can get 100 channels of television on this. You think he did anything like that? He gave a speech to the people at Nellis Air Force Base, to the airmen and women of the base. I did another one, Tyndall Air Force Base. What state is Tyndall at? Does anybody know? Florida. Vice President Mike Pence is promising that an Air Force base in the Florida Panhandle that was devastated by Hurricane Michael will be rebuilt in its entirety. He spoke Thursday at a rally in Jacksonville. Earlier in the day, he toured Tyndall Air Force Base. So, yeah, there's another one where he talked to the guys in the base and then did another thing, a rally. See, they point out in today's Daily Post about a President, Bill Clinton, who was the last commander-in-chief to get off the military base. Most dignitaries from the White House have simply treated Guam as a fuel stop. I want to say Carl Gutierrez is on the Facebook Live. There was a whole lot of money that went into that venture there. Campaign contributions? Was it just ponying something up? I'm just saying. If it's snubbery, I'm used to it. But I can kind of see it. You know, the guy's vice president gets off the plane at the Air Force Base, waits for him to top off the plane, and what's the photo op, right? Get to hang out with Governor Eddie Calvo and Shoshana, the admiral. And in this case, he also got to rub shoulders with I want to say president, but the governor of the CNMI. We've got audio of a couple of those chats. So we'll play that for you in the next hour of the program or at some convenient point. It's probably time to start thinking about the next hour of the program. Or was there something else I wanted to get out of my head before it got to be time for the Fox News? Hold on a second. No, I'll save it for next hour. I'm just teasing. That's what it is. That's what it's known as a tease. It'll be one of the most interesting things that happened to me that I get to share with you on the radio. But I can't talk about it now because there's 65 seconds left in the hour, and there's just not enough time to get started on it. So you just stay where you are. Tune in the next hour of the program. Fox News Live is going to be coming up in mere seconds. On the other side of that, Kevin Kerrigan with a look at all of the big stories that we're going to be talking about today from the Guam Daily Post and a few other sources. Like I said, audio of some interviews that he got plane side at Air Force 2. Did they give you a tour of Air Force 2?
Oh, yeah.
Did they?
Oh, sure. They invited us in. And
everybody did,
we got napkins and ashtrays.
Little
and
bottles?
towels.
Little bottles of booze? Did they have those on Air Force One?
No, we couldn't find those.
What about the bomber jacket? Did they hand out a bomber jacket for everybody in the press corps?
Under lock and key.
Why not? $6.59 and change. Anyway, Kevin's coming up. I take a look at what happened on the market over the weekend and where we're finding oil prices these days. I thought an interesting story about how the oil prices got low, and they're basically crediting President Trump for bamboozling the Saudis. You know, like the way the Adelup always bamboozles the legislature, same difference. Hey, I got a break. Fox News Live is next.
Republicans flip another Senate seat. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. A contentious race in Florida is finally over.
Republican Governor Rick Scott is headed to Washington. All 67 counties submitted their final recount numbers to the state at noon, and shortly after that, Florida's longtime three-term senator, Democrat Bill Nelson, conceded his hard-fought and down-to-the-wire loss. The Scott campaign released a statement, quote, "I just spoke with Senator Bill Nelson, who graciously conceded, and I thanked him for his years of public service. Now the campaign is truly behind us, and that's where we need to leave it." In Palm Beach County, Florida, Phil Keating, Fox News.
President Trump congratulating Scott in a tweet, saying he was a great governor and will be an even greater senator. Earlier, the president touched on a range of issues in an exclusive interview on Fox News Sunday.
The president remains focused on the good news for him that came out of the recent midterm election, saying only on Fox News Sunday,
"I won the Senate."
But the losses for the president in the House could amount to as many as 40 seats for Democrats. The president says the House flip is because of what he's been told by many of his supporters.
"Sir, I will never vote unless you're on the ballot." I say, no, go and vote. Well, what do you mean? As much as I try and convince people to go vote, I'm not on the ballot.
Many believe Democrats in House control will mean more investigations of the president and his administration.
Fox's Gernal Scott. A wildfire in Northern California now blamed for at least 76 deaths.
Of those 76 individuals, we have tentatively identified 63 people. Those identifications are waiting confirmation by DNA, and now that we are up and running in that process, I'm hoping that we'll be able to report out on identifications in the near future.
Butte County Sheriff Corey Honey. This is Fox News.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. Their services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
The problem isn't just not being able to hear or understand, or having to tell people to speak louder. Sometimes the frustration is having to repeat yourself too many times, or speaking so loud you're almost shouting. At Guam Hearing Doctors, we understand that hearing problems affect both sides. One of our goals is to help your hearing for those around you. Call us at 989-TEST to learn more.
A fugitive who disappeared on the last day of his murder trial is back in Texas after a decade on the lam. Authorities capturing Oscar Davila Rodriguez in Mexico. He was convicted in absentia and sentenced to 40 years in prison. Tension at the U.S.-Mexico border as migrants seeking asylum continue to arrive.
This is an anti-caravan, anti-immigrant rally that I'm at right now, and there's another pro-caravan rally going on a short distance away. Well, they've now clashed a little bit on the backside here, and they're basically shouting down one of these activists who's trying to tell them they are wrong. So the message that's coming from this group, if you will, is number one, you came into Mexico in a violent manner. Secondly, they're saying, hey, we're not necessarily anti-immigrant. We are definitely anti-invasion, and that's how they see that. A lot of the people here actually support a wall on their southern border, saying that the Mexican federal government has failed to control its southern border, and they fear, like the United States does, unless this caravan stops, there'll be more of them.
Fox's William Lajeunesse in Tijuana. The mad dash to Thanksgiving.
The Transportation Security Administration is expecting over 30 million people to fly somewhere for Thanksgiving through next Sunday, an increase of 1.6 million from last year, with security and safety top of mind.
We have new technology that passengers will see as they go through airports around the country. We have new X-ray technology, new credential authentication technology, and new conveyor belt technology.
TSA Administrator David Pekoski says will be enhanced by extra staff, security, and canine teams. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving and the Sunday after are expected to be the busiest travel days. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
And some good news if you're making the journey by car. The price of gas dropping 12 cents to a national average of $2.72 per gallon. That's according to the Lundberg survey, which monitors prices nationwide. I'm Steve Rappaport, and this is Fox News.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igomamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Hafa Day, I'm Rod Boss. As the new president and CEO of Docomo Pacific, I want to personally thank you for voting us Pika's best mobile, internet, and cable service provider for 3 years in a row. For friends and families serving in the armed forces, you voted us Best of the Pacific again this year. Thanks.
Ask your friends and family to come over and give our mobile network a try, and we'll give them 3 months free. We have select devices up to 50% off. Sign up today. You plus Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Circle K now offers Pop's Bake Shop products. Cream cheese rolls, malasadas, delicious donuts, and more. Come see why Pop's Bakery is a Southern gem. Circle K. Take it easy. Circle K now offers Bento Chef Sushi. Enjoy a selection of sushi, maki, and musubi made fresh every day. Circle K. Take it easy.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Vice President Mike Pence made a brief 3-hour stopover on Guam yesterday afternoon to greet service members and their families. Air Force Two touched down at Andersen Air Force Base shortly after 5 p.m. Governor Eddie Calvo, CNMI Governor Ralph Torres, and Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield were on hand to greet him. Governor Calvo spoke briefly to the vice president about some outstanding funding issues GovGuam still has with Washington, including reimbursements for Medicaid and compact funding. The governor said he would be making one more visit to Washington, D.C. before his term ends to meet with Pence, and he hopes also to meet again with President Trump to talk further about those funding issues. Pence arrived on Guam just 1 day after announcing the U.S. is collaborating with Papua New Guinea and Australia to build a naval base on Manus Island, which previously served as a U.S. military base during World War II. In his speech on Saturday in Papua New Guinea, which was broadcast by Australian TV, Vice President Pence said that the U.S. would work with Australia and Papua New Guinea to protect the sovereignty and maritime rights of Pacific Islands. And referring to China's warnings against U.S. military flyovers and naval exercises in the disputed South China Sea, the vice president said the U.S. would continue to fly and sail wherever international law allows and our national interest demands. At least one ship carrying Agent Orange stopped at Apra Harbor en route to Vietnam more than 50 years ago, but according to a U.S. Government Accountability Office report released on Friday, there is no evidence that indicates that the toxic cargo of Agent Orange was offloaded here on Guam. However, the report does acknowledge that Agent Orange components were used on island in commercial herbicides available at that time. The GAO report cites NAVFAC studies conducted in 1999 and 2009 that found that Agent Orange components like 2,4-D were used on Guam and sprayed along power lines and substations for weed control. While the GAO report did not confirm the herbicide was used or stored on island, a veterans advocate and attorney says confirmation of its chemical components and use of herbicides on island is enough reason to seek legal action. Some veterans who served on Guam claim their illnesses now stem from exposure to Agent Orange chemicals while they were here on island, which prompted members of Congress to call for an investigation and GAO report. We'll have more news after this.
The season of giving is here, and the stations of Choice Broadcasting want to give back. 93.3 The Point, Boss 104, Star 101, and Lux Guam present Charity of Choice. Each of our radio personalities have chosen a Guam charity that they would like to benefit.
And I chose Habitat for Humanity. Tune in daily to see how you can help.
Charity of Choice 2018 is brought to you by Choice Broadcasting Company, Lux Guam, American Water Tech, and the station that gives from the heart, 93.3 The Point.
Good news, Guam! Now you can design a phone plan that suits your needs by switching to GTA's handset payment option. With HPO, you can take home a new smartphone today and pay it down over 12, 18, or 24 months. You decide. And since there's no contract, you can upgrade phones at any time. So stop waiting. Join the thousands already taking advantage of the most flexible phone plan on Guam. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. GTA, your island, your network.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 7 a.m. Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio said he will compete in a runoff election if presumptive Governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero's vote count dips below the 50% level after all the outstanding ballots have been counted and the final outcome certified by the Guam Election Commission. When asked if he would carry on with his campaign if a runoff were declared, he said, of course, absolutely. Lieutenant Governor told the Guam Daily Post on Friday that he's waiting for the certification results. He spoke following a proclamation signing at the Guam Museum declaring this school year a celebration of the culture of the Chamorro people. It was his first public appearance since the November 6th general election. Tenorio placed second in the three-way race with just over 26% of the vote, far behind Leon Guerrero, who won 50.7%. However, roughly 300 absentee and provisional ballots remain outstanding and won't be tabulated or certified until this Friday. And if enough of those votes go to Tenorio or to the write-in candidate of Senator Frank Uggan Jr., Leon Guerrero's margin could fall below that 50% threshold required for victory and thus trigger a runoff. Guam Department of Education announcing on Friday afternoon that it's working with public health to address 7 cases of chicken pox among students at Maria Ujoa Elementary School in Dededo. Guam DOE sent out letters to the school's parents informing them about the outbreak and also providing information on the virus and vaccination process. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, a chicken pox outbreak in a school is defined as 5 or more cases within a 2-month period in the same school facility. And because chicken pox spreads easily, Guam Public Health is working with Guam DOE to identify students who were not properly vaccinated. Under Guam law, to control a possible epidemic of a communicable disease, public health can require vaccination against the disease. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at weather.
Let me see what I can scare up here. Partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. I got northeast winds to about 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs 90 degrees with a max afternoon heat index of about 102. Overnight lows near 79 degrees or so. Sunset tonight 5:50 and sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:21. And I'm told that bright star that you see in the morning sky is Venus.
Yeah, that's the planet Venus, and it's next to a bright star, which is Spica. S-P-I-C-A. It's up in there right around sunrise. So that's very cool to see when you get up early in the morning. Checking radar here. Looking at, we're actually on the western end now of this new trough that's approaching, associated with 92W, which is way, way down to our southeast. That's why you see that little bit of a northeasterly rotation
I'll
around.
see it in a second. I'm refreshed.
No worries. And they're passing down from northeast to southwest. Looks like they're missing us right now, and that'll just slowly uptick on the coming days. But I think today looks pretty good. We're talking about the heat index. Can we do the satellite real quick, because I want to show you why. If you see that little string of clouds, it's just north of Tinian and Saipan. That's actually a surge, a northerly surge, what they call a dry line, shear line. There's a lot of different names for it. Basically, it's a cold front that's kind of died out there.
Yeah.
Well, what happens is you get what's known as a little bit of air compression, and I forget the technological term for it. I'll get it later. But that's why it's going to be so hot today, because you've got a lot of moisture up against this dry line, and it's kind of piling on. And so the temperature about 90, heat index about 102. So if you got any outdoor activities today, make sure you hydrate. That's a good idea.
I was going to give you a technical term. Isotherm. Did you want to use that one?
Isotherm is nice. Isotherm is a different thing. Isotherm is actually on a weather chart, and it's an equal line of temperature.
Dry line shear?
Well, dry line shear, that's a little different, but we're okay. Yeah.
Kelvin wave?
No, but that's happening. I did a post on that yesterday.
You did?
Yes, I did.
I'm just throwing meteorological words out, see what sticks to the wall. It's 7:15. That's plenty of news and weather together right here on The Point.
Super Typhoon U2 has become one of the strongest storms on record to date. APL recognizes the damage that U2 has left behind and sees an opportunity to help our neighboring brothers and sisters in the CNMI. We humbly ask for the community's assistance in providing donations and supplies to our fellow islanders. All supplies can be dropped off to our APL office or coordinated for pickup and loading. Call 588-4651 for more details and to learn how you can help today.
And he remembered. It flashed back into his head. You're not a total senior.
But they can use this to make lunch at King's.
Yeah.
Warm air advection.
Warm what?
Warm air advection.
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 I understand what invection is. What is advection?
Advection is the opposite.
Thanks. Appreciate it. That's more than helpful now. 7:16 in the morning. That'll explain. So, you know what? The question I had was there were a lot of people that were thinking about doing all kinds of stuff on Saturday, but might have been pushed off of that for a little bit because they were concerned that it was going to be a little bit rainy. In fact, we were expecting more rain than we got for the Triple J 5 and 10K. I thought it was going to be rainier than it was. I personally thought it was just right, but I think there were some people that were a little bit concerned that it was going to be rained out.
Yeah, and it looked like the shower that hit that morning moved in at just the right time. I mean, kind of in the middle of the run, so about the time everybody started getting hot, boom, the little shower came through, cooled everybody off, and pasted the color into those shirts and pants forever.
Oh, yeah. There's people walking around with multicolored strands of hair today. 7:17 in the morning, and go eat at King's and have that advection, the heat advection that they're using to cook your meatloaf today. That's the big special. Meatloaf Mondays. No, I'm sorry, not Meatloaf Mondays. Salisbury steak. I know, same difference. But I think it's a couple of minor differences. It's still ground beef, and it's still good for you. It's meatloaf on Thursday, but to understand that many people on Thursday may actually have some other plans. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, we didn't touch on 92 whiskey during that weathercast. Maybe we ought to throw in a couple of things about it right now that they're watching it and what they expect.
Yeah, they are. Right now it's located. The center is about 5 north, 163 east, and that puts us well to the southeast of us. And the current models are bringing it south of Guam sometime around, Thanksgiving. It just depends on how strong it gets and then how close it gets as to what we'll get out of it. Right now, based on what I'm seeing in the models, we're probably just looking at an uptick in clouds and maybe a few more showers. It looks like it'll be far enough away from us in any case, according to models right now, that it shouldn't be much of an event for us.
All right, but naturally, until it is to the left of the island and north of the island, then you don't take your eyes off of it. We will not keep our eyes off of it, and make sure that you've got all the information that you need so that you can make whatever preparations that you've got to do for a Thanksgiving feast and or a little bit of heavy weather in the neighborhood. 7:18, and we'll be right back, and I'll give you the whole litany of everybody else that brings this program to you.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Gotcha. It's 7:19 in the morning. Portions of the program brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. American President Lines. APL is shipping the future American water tech, smarter water, better water, and Micronesia renewable energy. There's never been a better time to go solar.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
7:19 in the morning, a big weekend for just about everybody. Had an outstanding time at Aki Matsuri. I was originally thinking, maybe I'm not going to go. I'm just because it's the crowd and the noise, and it's Saturday night down in Tumon.
But it's fun.
I couldn't resist it. I couldn't resist it. I couldn't stay away. Parked the car here at the radio station and ran down to T-Pal Beach.
Okay.
And had just an outstanding time. Just a ton of people as usual.
I've done that many times.
I think a bigger crowd this year than ever.
Yeah, just a lot of good food and a lot of good stuff.
A lot of good food and a lot of incredible people. Hope you all had a fantastic time there as you're messing around with the Aki Matsuri 39th anniversary, 39th episode of the Aki Matsuri, which means I'm sure plans are already underway for a big 40th. You got a 0 at the end of the number. You got to make a bigger deal about it. 7:20 in the morning, so there was that. The Triple J 5 and 10K, and it's funny because I'm looking at Facebook right now of they've got those throwback memories, and it's a picture of me enjoying the post race at the Triple J 5K run when Triple J was still down the street where Honda is now.
Yep.
Back in the olden days of Triple J and that version of the company, and now how the company and how the race has grown since then. Also a very, very large crowd at that. So a good time had by all there. Father Duane just had a little race. The village of Jigo had their citrus festival over the weekend. And they had a little 5K going on that one. So there was a whole lot of athletic activities on top of everything else that was going on over the weekend. So you didn't do anything this weekend?
How many did you win?
So 2 first place finishes.
Ooh.
But I don't know where I was on the Triple J because I ran the 10K and they only had awards for the top 4 finishers. And when I turned in my ticket for the men's side, it was top 22 or something like that. So they didn't go by divisions. They didn't say
really?
top 2 or 3 in the men's division, 50 plus or.
You were top 22 island wide
for the 10K.
Really?
That's on the men's side.
I am impressed.
Yeah. Well, I'm skinny now.
I'm impressed.
It's the shorts. They're Speedo shorts.
Got to be
like
something.
volleyball shorts, man. They're crazy. 7:22 in the morning, and about time to jump in and see what's going on in the mind of Jerry Roberts. A brand new week, Thanksgiving week, and maybe some of that will filter into the creativity and the writing process that is the Extra Point.
I'm looking around the studio here. This is a very nice studio. Nice working conditions. It's beautiful. The colors are nice. The layout is beautiful. It's a wonderful broadcast studio. And keep that in mind for a moment. Does your physical workplace have an impact on the mental outlook of workers, their overall job satisfaction, and their productivity? Let's dig into a topic that is getting a lot of traction these days on The Extra Point. Let's put some key factors together. The average employee works 40 hours a week, and those in business for themselves often log far more hours than that. Younger generations of workers in Guam see the kind of places their mainland counterparts toil in and wonder why it's so different here. They wonder why it is that most organizations don't seem to care what the workplace looks like or feels like for the people who are asked to generate their profits. A study done for National Business Furniture entitled Happiness in the Workplace sheds light on how performance is influenced by a worker's physical surroundings. Nearly half, 47%, of employed Americans say the overall design of their workspace does influence their productivity, while 42% report that it also impacts their quality of work. The study found that millennials, becoming the dominant segment of the workforce everywhere, are more likely than any other generation to claim that workspace design impacts their happiness, motivation, quality of work life, and general well-being. Most top managers don't spend much time thinking about this, and when they do, the idea of renovating is often dismissed due to cash outlay or interruption to the business. Neither needs to be a roadblock.
Do a few simple things and see where it takes you. 1, assemble your team and ask if they would like to see changes to the decor. If so, what would be most pleasing? Let them submit ideas. Many will say a fresh coat of paint on the walls, chairs with improved support, or better lighting. Put together a small committee to handle the suggestions and report on them. One thing to consider is if yours is a totally open workspace with zero privacy, can you find a way to carve out a room that is private where workers can go to focus on their key projects or just take a break from normal office noise? 2, don't decide on a budget until you see what ideas you get. Maybe all you can afford is the paint job. Maybe you can add more to swap out lighting, chairs, or spiff up the employee's break room. If it's been 10, 20, 30 years or more since you did any of this and you can afford to do something special, I think you'll come to agree that it was money well invested. 3rd, go to the internet and look for what other companies have done and ideas to get more accomplished but at a lower cost. Then you decide on the plan and establish the budget. If you need to trim it, it will be best if you let the employees make that call. They'll choose to keep what is most important to them, which will bring the greatest satisfaction. And 4, assign a person or people to manage the project. Establish a timeline and make it happen. If you own a company or manage one, why not come into work today? Take a good look around you and see what your team thinks about making some changes. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 and The Ray Gibson Show, I'm Jerry Roberts.
You know, I spent a lot of time when we did the designs of the studio. Spent a lot of time on the technicals. You know, special wall covering. We've got double pane glass everywhere to keep the sound between studios low.
And it works.
And it works. I've got double walls in the buildings. There's an air gap in all of the non-concrete walls of the studios. So there's a lot of technical thought that went into the creation of the studios that we're in. But I tell you what, the room that I spent the most time worried about the design
was
the little kitchenette that we've got in the back. That was the room that I spent the most time trying to think of something that was going to be inviting and easy to keep clean and a spot for a refrigerator for the employees so they can steal lunch from each other.
Yes,
well,
exactly.
Very, very helpful. And the one item that I knew I wanted to put in there for no other reason because I think it's interesting, it's state of the art, it's fun to play around with is the Keurig device. The Keurig, the coffee maker?
Oh, I see.
Yes. Yeah. So we got a Keurig in there. And the item that I'm going to replace next is probably going to end up to be the microwave oven, which has got an aroma of food that had been microwaved, I think going back to the invention of the actual microwave.
That's what happens.
You just got to clean it.
It's been that was Clorox Cavalry and Pine Sol Patrol already.
Maybe a flamethrower would work.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Christmas is coming up, and I might Christmas that to the office this year.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right?
You're a good boss. When I began writing this, I began thinking about KUAM in the old days in Ordon.
75-pot coffee maker that Greg Perez drank from until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's what you remember?
That's one of my memories, yeah. Between that and the rats in the,
the rats,
building.
The rats were so old. How old were they? Right? Rats were so old they had deeds to the property.
Oh boy!
These were big rats. But the only thing, when you talk about creature comforts and you talk about, first of all, as radio people, okay, you and I come into a studio. This is inside radio stuff, but it might be educational. There are two things that are most important actually three. The sound of the microphone is one. The other thing is, now when I came in here the first time, and did this, and I told you something wasn't working, what was it?
Headphones.
Yeah. Okay, I got to have sound in both ears, right? It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening about a week ago, but I think you tightened something up again. So it's here now. The other thing is the chair. The chair is very important to a radio person because you're in there for 4 hours. In the old days of KUAM, they had trouble keeping the chairs together. Rest in peace. I love Uncle Tote. But let me tell you, Joe Cunningham broke more chairs than anybody could ever imagine.
Well, just a good guy for the job. I know. Yeah. He was an extremely active jock, extremely active talent.
And I come in and say, Joe, you broke the chair again. He goes, Oh, really?
They need to make stronger chairs.
Yeah.
It's going to be. It's like that. Yeah, I agree. The chairs and the headphones and the microphones and just a good signal going into the headphones makes all the difference in a 4-hour show. Sure, and good sound that feeds the microphone. But end of the day, the colors and microphone deals that go up and down and don't make any noise. There's no squeak, and those are also important to the process. 7:29 in the morning. Going to be an interesting week, short week. So there is no extra point on Thursday, but we will do an extra point on Friday.
Yes, we will.
Because we're not like the government of Guam and apparently flush with money, where I can give everybody a paid day off.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's...
I was taking Friday off, but I guess I...
Well, you still can. You just pre-record the show on Friday morning. 7:29, that's Jerry Roberts. He takes care of the extra points. Some interesting also deals. And if you want transcripts of that or some other great ideas, hit GuamTraining.com on the World Wide Web. Headlines and traffic coming up.
The problem isn't just not being able to hear or understand, or having to tell people to speak louder. Sometimes the frustration is having to repeat yourself too many times, or speaking so loud you're almost shouting. At Guam Hearing Doctors, we understand that hearing problems affect both sides. One of our goals is to help your hearing for those around you. Call us at 989-TEST to learn more.
Docomo Pacific is making the Better Together bundle even better. 2 great services plus more. Get unlimited local calls, SMS, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet for $109 a month. Sign up today and get free installation and choose between a free Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, or $100 off select devices. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. See store for details.
What is this? What is it? It's not time to talk about that yet, Eddie. You got to wait. It's a wait in turn. We just did the Jerry Roberts thing and the financials. We don't talk about sports until after 8 o'clock in the morning. Eddie wants us to talk about the Cowboys-Giants game. He says it's time for Blake to buy us tickets for the Cowboys-Giants games. Apparently the Cowboys have won again today. And that's the big deal. How did the Texans do? That game over yet? He's eating. What do you got in your mouth?
We squeaked by. We did good. 23-21 we won. That's 7 in a row for us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so we'll talk about that and get some early numbers on the pick'ems. But not this hour, Eddie. Next hour of the program at 7:31. And let me just quickly get a little bit of traffic going here. I do have a line of traffic that is coming up through Potts Junction on Route 9 at the intersection of Marine Corps Drive and Anderson Air Force Base. Traffic southbound and definitely happening in Jigo and on the way into Dededo. I'm looking at a line of traffic slowing down in front of Ukadu in that area as you make your way towards GRMC on Route 3. Once you get to Marine Corps Drive, it shouldn't be too bad. There's a little bit of traffic that is beginning to build up between 1 and 3 and the Chicken Joy intersection. Should clear up by the time you get to St. John's, but get a little bit heavy by the time you get closer to the Kmart area. Route 10, a little bit busy this morning in a bunch of places. The intersection of 4 and 10, the intersection of 10 and the University of Guam Street, 10 and 15, and starting to busy up as you get closer to 8, 10, and 16. And did you see where they're trying to fix? I think they were trying to fix the road in front of that one good intersection that gets you into Tiedzin. It had been all kinds of chop-socky, and they had sensors on the road there. So you could count how many cars were, whether a car was on the intersection needing to turn or something like that. I think they've pulled that out now because there was an actual piece of metal that was sticking out of the roadway for a long time. Only problem is it's uneven. So, Glenn, you're going to have to go back out there and put some steamroller on it and even it out with the rest of the pavement. 7:33, right now, time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, one man is dead after his sedan collided with a bus head-on yesterday afternoon on Route 15 in Manila. It happened just before 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapao reporting that a 2013 Starcraft bus was traveling south on Route 15 by the former Andy South housing area when the operator of a 2008 Hyundai Accent traveling in the opposite direction crossed over into the oncoming lane. The driver of both the bus and the vehicle were rushed to GRMC. The driver of the Hyundai pronounced dead shortly after 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. His name has not been released. The condition of the bus driver not released either. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. The Guam Department of Education announcing Friday afternoon that it's working with public health to address 7 cases of chickenpox among students at Maria Ulloa Elementary School in Dededo. Guam DOE sent out letters to the school parents informing them about the outbreak and also providing information on the virus and vaccination process. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, a chickenpox outbreak in a school is defined as 5 or more cases within a 2-month period in the same school facility. Because chickenpox spreads easily, public health is working with Guam DOE to identify students who were not properly vaccinated. Under Guam law, public health can require vaccination against the disease to control a possible epidemic. The 9 fiber optic cables that run through Guam to points across Asia and North America make the island one of the most connected places in the world, according to Andy Gale, Chief Operating Officer of GTA Teleguam. In remarks to the Rotary Club of Guam last Thursday, Gale said no one has that much capacity anywhere else in the world. Gale said the vast majority of the traffic, of course, carried by those 9 cables is just passing through, but its availability enables carriers to provide more services and help keeps costs down here on Guam, he said. Guam just happens to be in a very nice geographical location, said Gale. As a result, more cable builders have chosen the island as an alternate route between Southeast Asia and the U.S. mainland. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's a very well-written article based on a very well-received speech that Mr. Gale provided the other day, but I have a couple of questions, and seeing as how you were the journalist that was there, I want to see if you've got the answers to these. He references he references a 20 terabit system, and that I think I understand, with a 100 gigabyte wavelength. What the heck does that mean? What is a 100 gigabyte wavelength? What does it mean?
It means it can carry a lot of data.
Apparently so. But I'm trying to figure out.
Get Mr. Kelly on the line.
He's up in Saipan where they are not enjoying a 20 terabit system with 100 gigabytes worth of wavelength. And he suggests he might be able to give me the answer to that question tomorrow in this program at 7:36 in the morning. That's iConnect time. Maybe I'll go and check my buddies next door and see if they can tell me what a 20 terabit system with 100 gigabytes of wavelength is. iConnect giving away a vacation for 2 to Manila with a stay at the new Holiday Inn Express in their Connect and Win giveaway. Here's how it works. Sign up for a 12-month plan, mobile, internet, push-to-talk, and you're automatically entered. 'Tis the season for winning with iConnect. Go to iConnectGuam.com for details.
Knowing that we have choices in medical providers locally and outside of Guam is important and reassuring. This is the reason why Calvo Select Care provides quality health care options to its members. From a wide array of local, primary, and specialty doctors and clinics to a comprehensive hospital network on island and outside of Guam, you can trust Calvo Select Care to be there for you. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today. Call 477-9808 for more information.
It's Wendy's new Harvest Chicken Salad, truly delivering on all the flavors of fall, made with fresh cut lettuce, crisp red and green apples, dried cranberries, and the perfect combination of apple wood, smoked bacon, and crumbled feta cheese. And I already told you there's a chicken in there, right? We get a little piece of chicken. We get the chunk of chicken and cut it up for you. And I love this. Can I just say how much I appreciate the way it's packaged? The little salads that you get at Wendy's. You know, you get the black bottom and the clear top. You take the clear top off and you put the vinaigrette dressing in it. Then you put the clear top back on and you shake it. You got to do that. It's like shake it like a Polaroid picture. Shake it, and it will evenly coat all of the goodies inside with that apple cider vinaigrette dressing. Plus, brown sugar roasted walnuts this fall season. Fall for the new Harvest Chicken Salad from Wendy's. Now that's better.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7288. 883.
I think that's a good idea. Do you need to stay away from any place on the roadway right now? There's traffic building in the northern parts of Dededo, just between Woostig Road and Waisangsong right now, and that is going to be turning into something that looks like it's going to slow down. So be on the lookout for a little bit slower traffic southbound Marine Corps Drive and inbound from Route 3, getting closer to GRMC. Traffic slowing down through there. In fact, that whole intersection is beginning to build right now and spilling onto Marine Corps Drive southbound. It'll open up just before you get to Santos Hill, but then start to busy up again and then open up again. It's one of these back and forth things at this time of the morning. 8, 10, and 16. Well, 10 is looking a little bit better, only seeing a little bit of traffic build at the intersection from about where Father Duenas is over to the intersection by the old Aligorbis store. 8, 10, and 16, both directions on Route 8 from that intersection are beginning to build, and traffic on 10 leading up to that intersection starting to heavy up right now. Nothing in front of Navy Hospital, nothing in front of Sumai. Otherwise, fairly smooth going right now. 20 away from 8 o'clock in the morning. Right now, traffic here on The Point.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Well, this is going to be interesting. Looking at Facebook, and there is a countdown clock to Christmas Day. Are you ready? Ready for the number? Because for me, it still feels like, even if it's a week away from Christmas, it feels like it's so far away. It's one of my favorite holidays, obviously, and a real highlight of the year for me. Christmas Day. 36 days, 8 hours, 16 minutes, and 3, 2, 1 second away from Christmas. Now I got to check because I'm not sure if this is if this Christmas countdown clock applies to Guam Day or not. But the point is, it's getting close, isn't it? It's getting close. The closing of the year, and this not like any other closing of the year, because we've got in front of us the inaugurations that are coming. And we still have to get through that, and I think everybody over the weekend, and certainly a lot of media coverage on what has to happen next, and where the Guam Election Commission has the opportunity to start opening up envelopes with absentee ballots. I think there's probably still time to get a couple of these provisional ballots all sorted out, and then the final count, which my understanding is was going to take place on the 21st, but they've held off on that and will instead have the final count on the 23rd. Friday. So Black Friday is going to be, regardless of what the governor says, which I guess means that it's overtime. I don't know if they're going to get holiday pay. If GovGuam has declared it a holiday and the Guam Election Commission is working, does that mean that they get 88?
Not one of the questions they're asking today, I'm sure.
No, but somebody will. Somebody's going to ask, well, wait a second. If we're at the Guam Election Commission, if the people over at Reverend Tax and the non-essentials over at Guam Memorial Hospital got the day off, and we're working, does that mean that we get 88?
Well, we got a surplus. I guess we can afford it.
That's what the governor's office said. The drama department, not the actual governor. The drama department, when talking about his press release, said that there is a slight surplus for fiscal year 2018. Is that slight surplus? Is that bounce sufficient to see to the needs and to allow for this kind of holiday? And I'm still going to, and I'm not going to do this with what I like to refer to as fake righteous indignation. I will just say that, it's kind of disappointing because we were all told that there was a fiscal crisis, that the government of Guam is going to be upside down and people are going to get laid off. They closed the Dededo swimming pool, Kevin. They closed the Dededo swimming. They closed police precincts. They closed fire departments because we were in the midst of a fiscal crisis. And now here we are, just a few months in, and after the tax amnesty, which turns out to be everybody's favorite disappointment, where we managed to bring in about $30 million in tax amnesty money and cash revenue, but the problem was it cost us about $30 million in interest and penalties. So it's bad mathematics. We got to find out how we can do a better job of collecting some of these taxes. But in the meantime, the tax that they can be assured of collecting, that is business privilege taxes and wholesale taxes, we got nicked. All of us in every transaction and in every spend category have gotten hit with an increase in the business privilege tax from 4% to 5%, and we're stuck with it. We're gonna be stuck with it. Unless there gets to be a louder voice from among those in this community, private sector individuals, folks that aren't going to be enjoying the benefit of a day off on Friday, unless they're willing to go to their boss and take a vacation day, unless they're willing to go to their boss and say, hey, I really could use the day off. So if you think you could you do without me? The answer from the boss is going to be, yeah, but I ain't paying you. Unlike others, you win a certain kind of lottery around here. And that's just that's the way it is. So Denise asking, how much is this going to cost? I don't know. Used to be, when you and I first started talking to each other on the radio years ago, it used to be that number was closer to about $500,000 per, holiday. Now I think the number that is floating around, conventional wisdom, is $1 million because people have gotten paid. Ken LG writes this morning, the fiscal crisis got transferred from a government struggling to pay bills to people who now have to work 2 and sometimes 3 jobs to pay their bills. Cazendo said traffic moves smooth sailing today north to south. Hold on, traffic is, I guess it depends on where you are in the map. You might see some of that. At any rate, that's one of the things that's on the table of contents here that we get to talk about. Look, you want to give the holidays, then fine. It's obviously there's money floating around. You're talking about a slight surplus, and we have seen progress in many areas of our government in the last year. They say that we have seen progress in many areas of our government. So times must be good again. And if I was a member of the 34th Guam legislature looking to make some kind of point before the inauguration, why not take a look at some of the bills that have been introduced? In fact, are there not? I believe there are. Are there not pieces of legislation that may have already had their public hearing that would propose repealing that increase in the BPT? Seems to me there is. Yes, we did that. Didn't we go through the exercise?
Which exercise?
The one where somebody introduced a bill to repeal the BPT. Didn't Mike St. Nicholas have one of those?
But it didn't go anywhere. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Because I think they said, well, we don't have to have public hearing on this because we've had 1 million hearings on the so-called fiscal crisis. But clearly, this one piece of evidence, if there's money to support being able to give everybody a day off with pay, then obviously we didn't need that increase in the BPT.
Another session next week.
That's right. And there's another session next week. That's the one I'm encouraging everybody. And it's not just people like me that have kind of a jaundiced eye towards the government these days. And it's not individuals. It's just it seems to be conspiring against the taxpayers here. Is keep an eye on things. There's an interesting piece of legislation that we've talked about quite a lot that is supposed to have a public hearing day after tomorrow. Bill number 36734, an act to add a new article, blah, 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 relative to cigarette tax stamps and to require the Department of Revenue and Taxation to issue an RFP for the enforcement of alcoholic beverage, tobacco, and other products as identified by the Director of Rev Tax on behalf of the government of Guam. What they're basically talking about, guys, is outsourcing the collection of the sin taxes. So you want a beer? You want to drink wine? You like spirits? You smoke cigarettes? You smoked cigar? What about the chew? You do the chew? Well, all of those things are designated as taxable. And there is a system that is in place that should fairly easily, without a whole bunch of bureaucracy, allow for the collection of those taxes before they get to the retail guys. And we have apparently done a lousy job of that. And the guys over at the legislature were so taken by the idea that we had done such a lousy job of that they suggest that a good idea might be to outsource that. I'm immediately suspect. I am immediately suspect. It didn't take a long time. You realize what the numbers are and what might be at stake here. So they got a rolling average. They got a pretty good idea of what they've collected so far in all those different product categories. And they're offering to pay a compensation rate of what, no more than 40%? I think is what the measure said. No more than 40% of the delta between what they've collected and what they will collect to these outsourced partners. And I'm going, well, why don't we just take that money that we would pay in some kind of a commission and drive that right back into the Department of Revenue and Taxation? Unless what we're really trying to do is support a new business to come online. See, I wonder who's going to run that one. Wonder how fast that RFP is going to get put out and quickly approved by the systems that are at work. And yeah, I will say that that this one kind of rings in my conspiratorial heart. I don't like to think that I've got the capability for sinister thought, and then stuff like that pops into my head, and I go, yeah, apparently I do. 10 away from the top of the hour, 888-8255. That's 888-TALK, and 988-5874. What's that number, you might be asking? That number, friends, is our WhatsApp number. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you are watching a kind of radio that, frankly, never existed before. The kind of interaction that we're doing, that I can see what Cosendo is saying, and Cos can see what Lady D is asking, and everybody can read and disagree when they want to with Ken Leon Guerrero. Very, very interesting way for us to be able to share ideas and commentary. But 988-5874, another interesting piece of technology, also not new, but more and more people are beginning to use this as a method to interact with each other, i.e., if you've got a piece of video that you want to send me, my friend Charlie sent to the group chat yesterday, he sent the 4D ultrasound images of little baby Charlie, Bella, that's going to be born sometime in December. And a great way to do that. If he had video, he could do that. If he had audio, he could have done it. And so I ask you, and I give you the opportunity to send us some of the media that you're looking at. 988-5874 if you've got a WhatsApp deal. What's Ken saying? Spreading the political pork, another danger of a lame duck administration, plus lame duck senators looking for jobs beyond 2018. Lapsed funds. That's where you need to look, is all of the lapsed fund dollars. Are we going to see some of the lapsed funds going from one administration or another? Are we going to see guys that lost or were not otherwise called back to the legislature in 2000, in the 34th Guam legislature, send money to somebody in the 35th Guam legislature, and then coming back in as, what are they called? Staff. There's a word. Come on, I rail on it all the time. Assistant. A staff assistant. Coming back as staff assistants to incoming senatorial. Yes, watch how it happens. See some of the names. Watch the names and see where they end up in after the inauguration. Hey, got a new chief of staff. Used to be Senator so-and-so. It wouldn't be the first time now, would it? All right, so 752, and I was talking about the WhatsApp. And I've actually got some interesting pieces of audio on the WhatsApp I'd like to share with you. As many people are now aware, Vice President Mike Pence come to Guam and wanted to spend some time talking to the troops here, putting some fuel in Air Force 2, and then vamoosing out of the Asia-Pacific region back to, I think he should be flying to Honolulu, and told, I love Guam, because the information just flows around like you wouldn't believe. Apparently, one of the hotels, they had booked an entire floor under the possibility that Mike Pence might stay here, as opposed to refueling and then taking off. Like maybe if they found something in the airplane, or they were out of unleaded gas or something like that, then he might have to stay here on Guam. And so they booked out an entire floor of a hotel. Don't know which floor it was. But apparently that's kind of that big high-end thinking that goes into it. That's very, very cool. Anyway, so what we've got here is a couple of different pieces of audio. Governor Eddie Jerome Baza Calvo, Governor Torres from up in Saipan. I believe this one here, I'm not sure. If it's not one of those two, then it's Admiral Shashank. Yeah, so let me see if I can cue this up. And
any words with him? What did he have to say?
Well, he had to say that he was very proud of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who are stationed out on Guam. He was looking forward to being able to spend some time with some of the armed service members that are here, or the service members that are here.
He's here only for a quick visit, right? Only 2 hours, is that right?
It is. He's coming off of a visit to a conference, the ASEAN conference, and stopped here specifically to visit with the troops.
He's staying only on base, is that right?
He will not depart the base, but he will be departing this evening, so he's not spending the night here.
Do you know where he's going from here?
Yes, he's going to go and speak to the troops who are at the dining facility. He'll be able to interact with some more service members there and their families.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so there's the chat with the Admiral. This one here should be Governor Eddie Jerome Bossa Calvo, and apologize for the audio quality. I was standing out. Kevin was standing out of a tarmac at Anderson Air Force Base. Engines in the background, wind blowing in the background because it's that part of the island. So here's this should be again Governor Eddie Jerome Bossa Calvo. If not, then it will be Governor Torres from Saipan.
We're going to be spending some time also with some other military families. For a little bit. So, I'm glad that he had an opportunity to stop by.
Great, thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Hi, Gov.
How's the day?
How are you?
Great. So nice to see the Vice President. I've known him since he was a governor. So now an opportunity to greet him in Guam as Vice President. So
Did you exchange any words? Or,
I followed up with him. I'm going to be leaving to Washington, my last trip to Washington after Thanksgiving. And I discussed with him some issues that needed resolution in the past. That was one area in regards to Medicare reimbursements that are owed to our hospital. And the other was what we believe is owed by the Department of Treasury to the government of Guam. But I've spoken to him in the past about it. So I just made mention of today that these two areas still I would like to see complete resolution before I leave. So I did make mention that I will be visiting him in a couple of weeks to, see what we can do to again solve or resolve some long-standing issues.
It looks like you shared a joke out there.
Well, he's no, you know what? We used to make jokes as governors, and I told him, I remember saying to him, for a lot of American governors, which he was for governor of Indiana, I told him, Guam is so far west that we're in the far east. And so I had an opportunity to say, well, Vice President, you're finally in Guam. I know we've talked about it, in years past. And, our slogan here is and I greeted him, was, Mr. Vice President, welcome to Guam, where America's day begins. And so we just shared a little bit of laughter and reminiscing a little bit of our days as in his, as capacity as governor.
This is his first visit?
His first visit as Vice President. And I don't recall him ever visiting as governor before as well.
You heard about his trip prior to Guam?
I'm sorry?
Prior to Guam, he went to Papua New Guinea.
Yes.
And he announced that the U.S. is working to build a naval base there.
Yes. I think it was very clear, and I know you folks in the news have seen the discussions he's had both in Singapore and then in Papua New Guinea. And with that, obviously, there was a difference of opinion with President Xi of China and our Vice President. And the Vice President has been very steadfast in ensuring that, the open seas, particularly the South China Sea, and I don't see any issues with American military establishments in Papua New Guinea. It's they're obviously an ally of the United States, as with Australia, which is also a participant. So, again, American military presence in this part of the world since World War II has kept us stable, and I think we're just continuing on in that trajectory of stability in the Pacific region.
When are you leaving for Washington?
That's all the time that we've got to hear from the governor and the statements that he made before the assembled press at the arrival and the other ceremonies that took place with Vice President Mike Pence making his way on Guam. There are some that got it and understand, come over here, put some gasoline in the plane, have some dinner with the guys in the cafeteria, talk to their families, and then get on the airplane and go, like he does all over the place as they fly to different parts of the country. That's where Air Force 2 goes, is Air Force bases. And they get a special discount on the fuel, which is why they go there. And they're not always going to be going outside the fence to talk to, quote, the local community, unless there's otherwise some kind of rally or rally nonsense that's going to be taking place. So, feel snubbed if you want to, but it's not really anything out of the ordinary that any vice president or other presidents or speakers do when they're doing their traveling around on the government dime. Speaking of government dime, did you hear Governor Calvo say he's going to take one last trip to D.C. to do what for?
Try to get some more money.
Between now and then?
To bolster the surplus.
That surplus that the drama department is referring to in the letter here. Yeah, okay, I guess 8 o'clock in the morning or darn close to it. The radio station that you're listening to is KUSG. What have we got coming up for you? It's Fox News next. And then on the other side of that, I got more headlines from the Guam Daily Post, all kinds of stories that Kevin Kerrigan is watching out for you. And then we'll talk a little bit, we'll pretend to talk about sports. There actually might be some sports conversation taking place because there's football today, and there was football today, and there's going to be some tomorrow. So we'll talk about that and maybe a few other sport deals that took place over the weekend that Blake was keeping an eye out for. So that's all ahead right here as the Ray Gibson Show continues on 93.3 The Point.
Sending a new senator to Washington. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. It took 12 days to decide a contentious Senate race in Florida. Fox's Gernal Scott live with the latest.
Steve, today the recount came to an end with Florida's Republican Governor Rick Scott with about 10,000 more votes for Senate than incumbent Democrat Bill Nelson. After conceding, Nelson said even after he leaves the Senate, he will fight for people on all fronts.
Civil rights, women's rights, LGBT rights, and the sacred right to vote.
In a statement, now Senator-elect Rick Scott thanked Nelson for his years of public service and said he plans to bring the change he brought to Florida to government in Washington. Steve.
Gernal, Florida's race for agriculture commissioner also needed a recount to resolve. Democrat Nikki Fried defeating Republican Matt Caldwell by 0.8%. No apologies and no regrets. President Trump.
I didn't run. I wasn't running. My name wasn't on the ballot.
On Fox News Sunday, distancing himself from the GOP's loss of the House.
President Trump, of course, spent a significant amount of time campaigning for Republicans across the country. Gubernatorial candidates, Senate candidates, House candidates. He often told people to vote for Republicans and encouraged them to look at their vote in the midterms as a vote for his administration and his policies. The president says, though, the losses in the House are not a reflection on him or his chances in 2020.
Fox's Ellison Barber at the White House. Good news on the road to Thanksgiving. Gas prices coming down.
The new price is $2.72. It is down 12 cents over the past 2 weeks, and it's down 25 cents over 6 weeks. It's also the lowest price since March 23 of this year.
Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg says Honolulu has the highest price at $3.77 per gallon. Tulsa, Oklahoma, the lowest at $2.19 per gallon. This is Fox News.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Ang inyong bangko na tapat sa serbisyo, tunay na kaibigan at handa para sa inyo. Ang bangko ng kinabukasan, laging maaasahan. And Pacific, where others dug branches, we place roots.
President Trump saying the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia told him directly that he had nothing to do with the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. U.S. intelligence agencies say the prince ordered the hit.
It's hard to imagine something like this could happen without the Crown Prince knowing, but I don't know that we absolutely know that yet.
Senate Republican Roy Blunt on ABC's This Week. Democrats will soon take over the House of Representatives, but we still don't know if Nancy Pelosi will face a serious challenge from within her party to become the next House Speaker.
House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi has been meeting with incoming House Democrats and at least one potential challenger, Ohio's Marsha Fudge.
There's a great deal of hope and excitement about the fact that there could be new leadership.
Fudge says she'll decide after Thanksgiving about whether or not to run for House Speaker and says she has support inside and outside Congress. Congressional Progressive Caucus co-chair Pramila Jayapal says now is not the time to lose experience.
We need to deliver some real wins quickly in the first 100 days.
House Democrats elect a Speaker nominee next week. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
America's top diplomat on the gridiron. Cleveland Browns GM John Dorsey saying the team has not discussed former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice as a candidate for head coach. ESPN, citing an anonymous NFL source, reported the team would like to interview Dr. Rice for the job. She's been a Browns fan since childhood. A Harry Potter prequel makes magic at the box office.
The moment has come to take our rightful place in the world, where we wizards were free.
Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald grossing an estimated $62.2 million. Dr. Seuss's The Grinch bumped to second place with $38.1 million, followed by Bohemian Rhapsody with $15.7 million. I'm Steve Rappaport, and this is Fox News.
Super Typhoon U2 has become one of the strongest storms on record to date. APL recognizes the damage that U2 has left behind and sees an opportunity to help our neighboring brothers and sisters in the CNMI. We humbly ask for the community's assistance in providing donations and supplies to our fellow islanders. All supplies can be dropped off to our APL office or coordinated for pickup and loading. Call 588-4651 for more details and to learn how you can help today.
Happy Day, I'm Rod Boss. As the new president and CEO of Docomo Pacific, I want to personally thank you for voting us Pika's best mobile, internet, and cable service provider for 3 years in a row. For friends and families serving in the armed forces, you voted us Best of the Pacific again this year. Thanks.
Ask your friends and family to come over and give our mobile network a try, and we'll give them 3 months free. We have select devices up to 50% off. Sign up today. You plus Docomo Pacific. Better together.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Hungry? Stop by Circle K for Craft Kitchen's hot breakfast, lunch, and dinner items delivered fresh 3 times a day. Circle K, take it easy. Be your own barista at Circle K. Create your perfect beverage with our large selection of premium coffees, sweeteners, and creamers, including 2% almond milk and soy milk. Circle K, take it easy.
We're surrounded by sound. There are sounds that you need to hear. There are sounds that you want to hear. And there are sounds that you long to hear.
I love you.
Hear it all, louder and clearer than ever before. If you or someone you know has a hard time hearing, Guam Hearing Doctors can help using state-of-the-art test gear to evaluate your hearing and coming up with a plan to make your life better by making your hearing better. Call Guam Hearing Doctors for an appointment or visit them on the web at guamhearingdoctors.com.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. At least one ship carrying Agent Orange stopped at Apra Harbor en route to Vietnam more than 50 years ago. But according to a U.S. Government Accountability Office report released on Friday, there's no evidence that indicates that the toxic cargo was offloaded here on Guam. But the report does acknowledge that Agent Orange components were used on island in commercial herbicides available at the time. The GAO report cites NAVFAC studies conducted in 1999 and 2009 that found that Agent Orange components like 2,4-D were used on Guam and sprayed along power lines and substations for weed control. While the GAO report did not confirm the herbicide was used or stored on island, attorneys representing Vietnam-era veterans say confirmation that Agent Orange chemical components were used here is enough to seek legal action. Some veterans who served on island claim their illnesses now stem from exposure to certain Agent Orange chemicals back then, which prompted members of Congress to call for an investigation in this GAO report. Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio says he will compete in a runoff election if presumptive Governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero's vote count dips below the 50% level after all the outstanding ballots have been counted and the final outcome certified by the Guam Election Commission, scheduled to take place this Friday. When asked if he would carry on with his campaign if a runoff were declared, Tenorio said, of course, absolutely. The lieutenant governor telling the Guam Daily Post Friday that he's waiting for the certification results. Tenorio spoke following a proclamation signing at the Guam Museum declaring this school year a celebration of the culture of the Chamorro people. It was his first public appearance since the November 6th general election. Tenorio placed second in that three-way race with just over 26% of the vote, far behind Leon Guerrero, who won 50.7% of the ballots cast on November 6th. However, roughly 300 absentee and provisional ballots remain outstanding and won't be tabulated or certified until this Friday. If enough of those votes go to Tenorio or to the write-in candidacy of Senator Frank Uggan Jr., Leon Guerrero's margin could fall below the 50% threshold required for victory and thus trigger a runoff. More news after this.
Bring joy to your world and your budget with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. At a low 4.99% APR fixed for 1 year, it's a smart way to add ho, ho, ho without budget uh-oh. To apply for a holiday loan, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or FHB.com. For more information, call 1-877-640-2337. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Attention federal employees and annuitants. Enjoy free health screenings and learn about Take Care's health plan offerings, including rates 19% lower than last year for its federal non-postal high option at the Micronesia Mall every Saturday from November 10 to December 8 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Join us for raffle prizes, group fitness demos, and a health fair while getting to know the team. Hope to see you there from your friends at Take Care.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. Vice President Mike Pence made a brief 3-hour stopover on Guam yesterday afternoon to greet service members and their families. Air Force Two touching down at Andersen Air Force Base shortly after 5 p.m. Governor Eddie Calvo, CNMI Governor Ralph Torres, and Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield were on hand to greet him. Governor Calvo spoke briefly plainside to the vice president about some outstanding funding issues GovGuam still has with Washington, including reimbursements for Medicaid and compact funding. The governor said he would be making one more visit to Washington before his term is over to meet with Pence, and he hopes also to meet with President Trump to talk further about those funding issues. Pence arrived on Guam 1 day after announcing that the U.S. is collaborating with Papua New Guinea and Australia to build a naval base on Manus Island, which previously served as a U.S. military base during World War II. In his speech on Saturday in Papua New Guinea, broadcast by Australian TV, Vice President Pence said that the U.S. would work with Australia and Papua New Guinea to protect the sovereignty and maritime rights of Pacific Islands, and referring to China's warnings against U.S. military flyovers and naval exercises in the disputed South China Sea, the Vice President said the U.S. would continue to fly and sail wherever international law allows and our national interest demands. One man is dead after his sedan collided with a bus head-on yesterday afternoon on Route 15 in Manilao. It happened just before 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau reporting that a 2013 Starcraft bus was traveling south on Route 15 by the former Andy South housing area when the operator of a 2008 Hyundai Accent traveling in the opposite direction crossed over into the oncoming lane. The driver of both the bus and the vehicle were rushed to GRMC. The driver of the Hyundai pronounced dead at about 5:15 yesterday. His name has not been released. The condition of the bus driver not released either. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
That's such a dangerous piece of roadway out there, and just so many people get into wrecks and die as a result of losing a little bit of control. 8:13 in the morning, partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. There's northeast winds to 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs 90 degrees. Max afternoon heat index around 102 hot ones, and overnight lows near 79 degrees. We'll watch the sunset tonight at 5:50. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:21. And as I like to do, we'll take a look at the radar map and see if Michael can glean any near-term forecast ideas.
And as we're looking at the radar there, the isolated stuff well to our south, and just maybe an occasional shower will pass over us through the day today, but nothing significant. Let's put it that way. So that's going to be the rule as it is for probably the next couple of days. We've got 92W Invest that is very far to our southeast, and their forecast right now is just that it will develop slowly as it passes to our south. How much it will develop or how far to our south it will pass are still very much uncertain at this time. But it does look like we'll get us a chance of rain for Thanksgiving.
Right.
Also looking at the satellite here, you can see draped across Tinian and right across the Marianas actually is a bit of a dry line, a shear line, and there's some warm air advection. I talked about that last hour. That term simply means, it just describes the horizontal movement of the warm air, and that's moving horizontally and feeding up into that shear line, kind of compacting against it, and that's going to raise our temperatures and humidity levels, most importantly, and that's what's going to give us that heat index for today. So if you're going to go out and about doing anything strenuous, just make sure you're hydrated.
And the most important thing is, there's a circulation they're looking at. They look at it like it is going to be developing, so we could be in for some heavy weather on Thursday. Stay close to your radio. Keep an eye on whatever satellite images that you like to go to, whatever websites that you like to go to, whatever software. If you're a fan of the Windy app, now would be a good time to go and take a look and see what it says about long-range forecasting from here. But recognize that it's only that. It's just a forecast. We don't know exactly what it's going to be doing, where it's going to be passing. We just know that it's developing and could be around here by Thanksgiving. 8:15, that's news and weather together right here on The Point.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
And the forecast here comes up and says you should probably drink lots of water today so you don't die. It's 8:16. You should probably eat today too. Well, this is gonna be tough for me, right? I was just remarking to Blake here, who just sat down for the sports thing, how hungry I feel right now, and I don't know that I should feel hungry. I had a nice dinner last night, and that was my good meal for the day. It was really, really good. It's delicious.
I had Thanksgiving dinner early. We cooked it Saturday night.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Everything.
So you don't have to worry about it this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That means you don't have to worry about the panic shopping over the next couple of days.
I already had Thanksgiving leftover sandwich. I took 2 pieces of sourdough bread. I smeared cranberry sauce in it. Then I put the stuffing. Then I crushed up some of the sweet potatoes. Added that in with my turkey. Poured some gravy over it. Dipped it. Yeah.
Totally there. Closest thing I got is some 9-grain sandwich bread and mayonnaise and
some sliced turkey.
Yeah, some sliced turkey. That's
I had
chocolate
chocolate
I'm going to get for today.
Nice.
Did you?
Chocolate pudding, yeah. It's wonderful.
So, listen, if you're not lucky enough to have access to all of these culinary delights that we're talking about here today, swing by the nearest King's, because there's one up in Harmon and there's another one in Tamuning. And today the big deal is Salisbury steak. It's like meatloaf except different. So have that for the big luncheon today at King's.
Good news, Guam! Now you can design a phone plan that suits your needs by switching to GTA's handset payment option. With HPO, you can take home a new smartphone today and pay it down over 12, 18, or 24 months. You decide. And since there's no contract, you can upgrade phones at any time. So stop waiting. Join the thousands already taking advantage of the most flexible phone plan on Guam. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. GTA, your island, your network.
Portions of the program brought to you by Security Title. If you need confidentiality in your real estate transactions, talk to them. They know how to keep a secret. Also, my friends over at American President Lines, they're shipping the future. GRMC, first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. American Water Tech, Smarter Water, Better Water, and MRE, Micronesia Renewable Energy. MRE, there's never been a better time to go solar.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters.
I'm just looking around at something. I've suggested to people to take a look at their Windy and like I said, whatever your favorite apps are these days. And I don't know where you fall under Windy, but if you my favorite thing about Windy is it's got these timelines that you can go to, and you can already now go to Windy Thursday at 4:00 in the afternoon and see the storm south of Guam. But Guam inside some 35 to 45 mile an hour wind possibly.
To be honest with you, based on my experience, I'm not real concerned about this particular system. I think that if it does get stronger, it'll stay far enough south that we'll just see a little wind, maybe a shower or two, and I'm going to stick to that unless something pops up that tells me different.
Right. Some models and some of the atmospherics, but remember the atmospheric conditions can and will change. And you know, I remember, and I mentioned this to people as recently as just last night, because we were talking a little bit about the weather at the table, and I said, you know, I remember when U2 was still looking like it was coming straight for us, and I kept looking at every new satellite map that came through. I looked, did it turn, and I remember that late in the process, going back to you saying, Michael, am I seeing this thing start to make that jump to the north? And thankfully it did. Well, thankfully for us, that smacked Saipan and the CNMI obviously. And that's how dicey things can get, literally at the last minute. A move like that spares us and causes some folks, you know, months and months of rebuilding.
Just a slight shift in wind, you know? Makes all the difference.
So keep an eye on this thing while it's out there and while you've got time to prep. 20 after 8 o'clock in the morning. My name is Ray Gibson, and time for us to start talking about sports with Blake. I sent a note to our friend Renee because I wanted to find out if how her football things are going these days. But I didn't get an answer yet.
Who's her team?
I forgot.
The Bills, right?
I think, yeah. I think it's Buffalo.
Not good.
Not good?
Not good.
Okay, well, let's jump into it here. Because I haven't talked about any scores. The only score that I've got here, the only thing that I know that happened in football, I got from Eddie Cruz last hour, who said something about Dallas winning.
Oh, yeah, they did. They did win. But that's never mind that. There was a bad, I don't know if you remember the hit that Lawrence Taylor put on Joe Theismann back on Monday Night Football in the 80s. Do you remember that?
Anybody that saw that will never forget.
Okay.
You can't unsee that.
Well, the worst hit since that hit is it's being called as J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt snapped Alex Smith's calf in half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was carted.
I missed that part of the game.
He was carted off the field, taken to the hospital via ambulance.
Wow. That's same thing happened with Theismann.
Yes.
I was wondering why there was a quarterback.
Video of it, and I believe somebody on Twitter, I don't remember who, somebody randomly said that.
What's the thing? What am I looking for? And I'll find it on my computer.
It's Alex Smith has Theismann-like broken leg. You can check ESPN. That's exactly what it's the top headline on ESPN.com.
Is this something I want to run on the thing?
Sure, play it. But I will say this though, is that somebody on Twitter said that Alex Smith's ankle was flopping around like LeBron James.
Yeah, it's
pretty bad.
I saw it when it happened to
Theismann.
If
you go to ESPN.com and click on it, I just watched the video now, and his helmet, as soon as he hits the ground, he throws his helmet off immediately.
All right, it's on screen now. It's on the Facebook Live now.
Watch it. So it already happened. It started the clip, and they may show it in slow motion. So you see, obviously, writhing in pain. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to show it in slow-mo, but you may have to No, they won't.
I won't
doesn't
even
look like this one.
do.
But
Yeah,
but in the very beginning, you can see it kind of in real time flop over, and he goes one way, his body goes one way, and his ankle goes the other.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I mean,
Not good.
I was following the game
Yeah,
here, but
I can't unsee that.
Yeah, I was
So I'm
busy.
glad they didn't show it.
I was busy setting up the show, and so I missed that part. And then I came back to the game, and it was like, wow, they've got a different quarterback in. Why is that? Because they weren't playing that poorly.
Right.
It was a very close game. I couldn't see a reason why they would
No,
swap
he
quarterbacks.
is more than likely. Joe Theismann tweeted, Alex's leg is exactly like mine 33 years ago. That game happened November. Weird.
That was
33 years to the day.
And that was the
Joe
end of
Theismann broke
career.
his leg and ended his career with Lawrence Taylor on November 18th, 1985. In the States, that game was played November 18th, 2018.
Yep.
So
Same
weird.
team, too. Redskins. Ugh. Yeah, weird. And that ended Theismann's career, so it may be the end for Smith. You just don't come back from a
It's
a
broken
break
in
of
two
the
places, isn't it?
Well, you've got two bones in your lower legs,
Yeah.
so yeah, you've automatically got two breaks, and there's no telling what else happened in the melee. People falling all over each other before they realize that something's actually happened. Yeah, he's done.
Like,
You'll be
remember
seeing
when you
Alex
were
Smith in
killed,
the
a
broadcast
kid and you were building a model airplane and the wheel on the airplane broke, and no matter how you tried to glue it, no matter what you did to strut it so that it never came back the same way, and so you always had to throw that plane again. Start
Or
all over
G.I.
again.
Joe's, that when they got smaller, if you bent their leg forward, snapped it, you never could fix it.
8:24 in the morning. All right, let's get into some real football talk here. Let's do some scores here, boys.
Well, after today's games, I am convinced that at this point in time, I no longer know anything about NFL football.
I am exactly right there with you. I'm glad you said that. Let's go. The first four, I missed them all.
The first four, yes. I've split the first 8 in half, 4-4. Packers, of course, lose to the Seahawks.
By 3.
Yeah, jeez.
But they lost.
And then the stupid Cowboys beat the Falcons.
Yeah.
No offense to
No,
the
hey,
Cowboys,
I didn't pick them. I picked them to lose.
Me too.
Yeah.
Got that one wrong.
They let me down even when I go against them.
Detroit beat the Panthers. I know Mark Colby's happy about that. I'm not. I picked the Panthers to win that
Beat them
game.
by 1 point.
1 point, yep. And this one wasn't even close, which makes me wonder why in the heck I even picked the Titans.
Because
to
they beat
Colts.
the Patriots.
Yeah, Colts just messed them up, 38-10.
I missed all those too.
Wow. Wasn't even a game. The one I did get right, I think you did too. Giants beat the Buccaneers, 38-35, but that was not easy. That happened late in the game.
Yeah. And that was a really hard game because they're both terrible.
They really are. Yeah, I
kind of just guessed, really.
I did too, and I gave it some of the least of my confidence points. Texans beat the Redskins 23-21. Happy with the outcome. Did not know about Smith. Regrettable about that. I do have to say I'm kind of glad J.J. Watt was the one that did it.
Keith Parsky is chiming in from D.C. He said, sad about my D.C. team. Yeah, Alex is in pain.
Bad.
Ted Lewis with Steelers win again. He's got some thumbs up there. Yeah. And Brad Hewitt talking about going into immediate surgery.
Yeah, and
immediate surgery. And not only that, he will obviously be out, without that being said, but also because everybody can gear up. Because as you watch your Thanksgiving game, you get the Cowboys Redskins on Thanksgiving Day. So that'll be one of 3 games on.
There we go.
On Friday morning for us here.
And the Redskins will be doing it with Colt
McCoy.
Smith.
They'll be doing it with Colt McCoy.
He's not bad. Let's see. Steelers did beat Jacksonville. That again was also kind of at the last minute.
And
Jaguars were leading.
Yeah,
that game.
and Ben Roethlisberger almost he had to run it in very clumsily, Ray, and he almost didn't make it because he ran into the back of his own guy, and it almost knocked him out of the end zone.
Guys that are 6'5".
But good thing Big Ben's 6'5", 250. So he was able to just kind of lumber and fall in, and they win at the last second.
Ravens did win at home against Cincinnati, 24-21. All these games really close except for the one. So we've got some in progress right now. 14-14 tie. Oakland at Arizona. We're showing 13-7 Chargers leading Denver in L.A.
New Orleans just blanking the Eagles 17-0.
Yeah, and I hope they keep that up because I picked them to win that.
Yeah, me too.
And then we got a game later on today, Vikings at the Bears. And then the big game tomorrow morning, Chiefs at the Rams.
And that's the big game of the whole league, is tomorrow morning's game.
That might be the biggest one of the season.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so Renee says she's watching the Eagles-Saints game right now.
Very, very. Oh, really? Yeah. Looks like second quarter just started, and like I said, the Eagles playing catch up because it's 17-0 as the Saints just continue to march.
Oh, nice.
On in. Oh, yeah. First time I ever heard that one.
You kind of find yourself pulling for Drew Brees. I mean, you know,
I
we're
pull for the
Texas
Saints all the
guys,
time.
so and I've never had any hatred for Brees.
And now that I pull for them because during Hurricane Katrina, they became the San Antonio Saints for one season, so they were a Texas team.
Now she's in it. Now she's on Facebook Live with us right now.
Is
Renee
she?
saying, "Yeah, Eagles just scored."
Oh, did they?
Right on. Yeah, Eagles
Maybe I
just
should
scored.
refresh my Yahoo scoreboard.
You can see.
Oh yeah,
who's
17.
on.
Now 7-17.
All right, who's on and playing? She's got this skill about watching the games, and she's also running her own version of the shop, which means that she can take whatever day she wants off. So she takes Mondays off so she can get caught up on what's happening in football.
Well, this actually this is kind of an off day for her because her team is not play. They got the bye this week,
right?
So she can kind of watch. She can kind of watch whatever and maybe focus attention. She doesn't have to pay attention this week because the Bills on the bye.
Right. Well, so we'll see how they're doing. She's got a thumbs up on the Bills, so she's still got a lot of confidence with them in the season.
The Thanksgiving game is always Dallas-Detroit. Did you know that they always play it? They're always ever since like the 70s. They've always just those two specific teams always host home games on Thanksgiving, and it'll always be that way.
And Detroit always loses.
This week I'll see if I can track down the history as to why that is. But growing up, it took me a couple years to be like, wait. Why is Dallas-Detroit always playing? And then my dad explained it to me, so I'll have to see if I can dig up and do some research and tell you why.
Lady D on Renee's side talking about, I'm with my Eagles. Love the way we can interact with this headlines and sports and all the other things. Ishmael was talking about, first he says, hush, you Husker, and then talking about a thing called the Apple Cup. Huskies versus the Cougars, the NCAAF game to watch coming up on our Saturday.
And he's talking to Brad. I believe Brad is a Cornhusker fan, which is the mascot of the University of Nebraska. And so the University of Nebraska college football game versus the Houston Cougar college football game, I think, is what he's talking about.
Okay.
Because, depending on which teams play, like when Texas OU plays, it's Red River Shootout. The Iron Bowl is what, like Auburn, Clemson, or Alabama, something like that. So, there's these little in-conference rivalries, and they're both old Big 12 members, are Houston and Nebraska. So that's a middle America college football reference for about two people there.
So big 5K that's going to be coming up this weekend is the Gatorade 5K. And seeing as how, because somebody mentioned this, I was bragging a little bit on Facebook, talking about some loot that I scored over the weekend in the different races that I ran, and so they said, well, that's because everybody was at the triathletes. They had the super sprint and a couple of other things that went on yesterday.
Yeah, they posted that.
And that's absolutely true. There are some people in the seniors category. There's some people in all of the categories that weren't running in any of the big, the 5Ks and the 10Ks this weekend because they were all getting ready for the super sprint. So I got a feeling that this coming weekend is going to be absolutely brutal. I think it's going to be a slugfest out there in all of the different categories. So if you want to test your mettle, I think
nice variety of age groups there.
Yeah, if you want to test your mettle against some of Guam's strongest athletes, then the Gatorade 5K, and they're supposed to have some really, really cool gives.
I can imagine. Because, Gatorade always has some good swag when it comes to athletic performance.
Exactly.
Right?
So I'm hoping to score a shirt and, I don't know, keys to a car or off-island airplane ride, something like that.
You use the Gatorade gel? Yeah, the Gatorade goo? Do you like that?
Well, I use goo, but not Gatorade goo.
Okay.
I'm pretty specific, and there's only really a couple of flavors that I like of the Gatorade.
Okay.
There's like a mandarin orange and a chocolate. No, it's not chocolate. It's espresso, and then there's a jet berry. Jet blackberry. Yeah. You know what?
Like a black cherry?
Well, they all taste the same. Can I just say that right now? Most people, I think, just go. It doesn't matter what flavor the thing says. It's not going to taste like that. It'll taste like robot food.
Right.
And so you have some
like
of
the
that
Flintstone
stuff.
vitamins. No matter their color, they all taste the same.
They all taste exactly the same. So I mean, just what I look for is how much caffeine.
Oh, okay.
And so I like the ones with 40
so you
milligrams
check the facts,
plus.
and you got to check the facts.
Yeah. So I get that one. But at any rate, so looking forward to watching how that one gets put together. I'll just see if I can get some more details on that before too much longer, because I'm a curious guy. There's a lot of other stuff in my head. I'll give you an example. You know what else happened over the weekend? First of all, Gigo, the Citrus 5K. I gotta say, great race, well put together, well run, and there were people at all the intersections. Absolutely terrific. Weird course, but it's Gigo, we'll survive it, right? But at the end of it, so when you get your shirt, Actually, they give you the shirt before, and then when you came in, there was calamansi tea that they had made, some calamansi like lemonade. Mm-hmm. Because it was the Citrus Festival, and some great giveaways from all the different sponsors, and rosary.
Really?
They gave you a rosary.
Oh, they gave you a rosary.
They gave you a rosary.
I didn't bring it. Said like a rosary.
But everybody that everybody that finished the race got while supplies last got a rosary. They did it by months. So you could get like your birthday month, a rosary based on the color for your birthday month. I got one for September because that's when my mom passed. So that's when I try to remember to do my
and that's
my
blue
rosaries.
because my sister's was it blue, like a royal blue kind of? What is sapphire? Is September sapphire? My sister's birthday is the gemstone of I don't remember.
I don't know. I haven't prayed yet.
I also remembered because my
haven't used it.
My class ring for your high school class ring. I didn't get my birthstone. I actually got the September birthstone because it was the school color. Our school color was like was blue and gold, and so the September birthstone was blue. So I wanted my class ring to reflect my school, not
Makes
my
a lot of
personal
sense.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the way that worked. Okay, well, that's a lousy way to end this segment of the program. So I think we'll just stop while we're ahead.
You know that how about this? Just for an Adam Bob random fact, and I'll get out of here.
Okay.
The Cleveland Browns, want to hire Condoleezza Rice as their next head coach, and that is not that is not an article for The Onion. I don't want you to read this for yourself on ESPN. Browns want to interview Condoleezza Rice for head coaching.
They just mentioned it on Fox News.
Isn't that great?
I kind of shook my head like a blah, 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 blah.
Now, if you think it's random, she was on the inaugural board for the college football playoff committee from 2013 to 2016. Right, yeah, and she's been a lifelong Browns fan, which is why the Cleveland Browns. But yes, Condoleezza Rice could be a head coach in the NFL.
Well,
we'll
she's
see.
tall. They need a tight end.
It's 8:34 in the morning. Hey, got headlines with Kevin Kerrigan coming up in a second. That's Blake Watson. He's going to go finish the morning show over on Star 101. We'll be right back.
Circle K now offers Pop's Bake Shop products, cream cheese rolls, malasadas, delicious donuts, and more. Come see why Pop's Bakery is a Southern gem. Circle K, take it easy. Circle K now offers Bento Chef Sushi. Enjoy a selection of sushi, maki, and musubi made fresh every day. Circle K, take it easy.
Now, I'm going to ask Jerry Roberts about that. That's her going there. If you ask me, and you're not, but I'm going to tell you anyway, that's just management. It's just how many times, I'm talking to managers listening to the radio right now. How many times have you walked into a business, saw lousy service, saw just how poorly everything was being managed and run and go, I could do better than this, in a heartbeat. Fly an airplane recently, gone on a cruise. Actually, I can't say that about cruises. I've been on cruise, and I tell you what, they operate that like it is an ancient business going back thousands of years because it's an ancient business going back thousands of years. There's no angle that they haven't seen in that industry going back that far in time. But if you want to take somebody like Condi and put her at in a head coach position, that's just managing data. And can you imagine the big data that you got coming out of football teams and other coaches that are working with you? Get guys to get faster and get their percentages up on the high percentages, high score routines that they do. It's management. You're disagreeing with me, Kevin.
Not going to happen.
No, you don't think she's going to go there?
Coach, maybe general manager, but definitely not a coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You're describing more of a general manager's job in football.
But
head coaches, they got to get dirty, and they actually have to know something about the game.
Yeah, being able to move around on the field. I see. So are you envisioning Condoleezza Rice in coach pants?
No.
8:36, time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, Guam's newly elected delegate to Congress says he plans to join the Hispanic caucus. Senator Michael San Nicolas telling the Guam Daily Post that he looks forward to joining the Hispanic caucus and working with that key coalition to advance shared issues. San Nicolas upset longtime Delegate Madeline Bordallo in the August primary, went on to win the general election against Doris Flores Brooks. San Nicolas was in Washington, D.C. for freshman orientation last week. He told the Post over the weekend that being a freshman member of Congress with a lot of other first-timers can be a plus. With a large freshman class representing nearly 20% of the newly elected House of Representatives, he said, we are well-positioned in this season of change. The Guam Department of Education announcing Friday afternoon that it's working with the Public Health Department to address 7 cases of chickenpox among students at Maria Ulloa Elementary School in Dededo. Guam DOE sent out letters to the school's parents informing them about the outbreak and also providing information on the virus and vaccination options. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, a chickenpox outbreak in a school is defined as 5 or more cases within a 2-month period in the same school facility. Because chickenpox spreads easily, Public Health is working with Guam DOE to identify students who were not properly vaccinated. And under Guam law, Public Health can require vaccinations against the disease to control a possible epidemic. The 9 fiber optic cables that run through Guam to points across Asia and North America make the island one of the most connected places in the world, according to Andy Gale, Chief Operating Officer of GTA Teleguam. In remarks to the Rotary Club of Guam last Thursday, Gale said no one has that much capacity anywhere else in the world. Gale said the vast majority of the traffic carried by those 9 cables, of course, is just passing through Guam, but its availability enables carriers to provide more services and help keeps costs down. Guam just happens to be in a very nice geographical location, said Gale. As a result, more cable builders have chosen the island as an alternate route between Southeast Asia and the U.S. mainland. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I will. iConnect time is 8:38. They're giving away instant prizes with the new 12-month mobile and internet and push-to-talk plans. You'll also be entered in the Connect and Win drawing for a vacay for 2 to Manila. 888-8888 is the number to call for more details.
The season of giving is here, and the stations of Choice Broadcasting want to give back. 93.3 The Point, Boss 104, Star 101, and Lux Guam present Charity of Choice. Each of our radio personalities have chosen a Guam charity that they would like to benefit.
And I chose Habitat for Humanity. Tune in daily to see how you can help.
Charity of Choice 2018 is brought to you by Choice Broadcasting Company, Lux Guam, American Water Tech, and the station that gives from the heart, 93.3 The Point.
Hey, go get one of those sandwiches I'm always telling you about over at Wendy's. They've got a terrific one. It's called the Bacon Classic Cheeseburger. Actually, it's the Sawsome Bacon Classic Cheeseburger because that's what they do with it. They start with an incredible foundation, right? It's like if I could let me see if I can. So they start off with the chassis of a Lexus ES 350, right? And then they just add to that. It's already great to begin with, and then they say, you know what? This needs leather windows. And they put that in. And when I say leather windows, I mean they put in another treatment that you're going, wow, this is the ultimate option. It's the Sawsome sauce. So you've got this incredible chassis from which they add the Sawsome sauce to it and make it even better, just like leather windows would. So I want you to try it when you go to Wendy's. Order it up, the Sawsome Bacon Classic Cheeseburger, Applewood smoked bacon, beef patty, melty cheese, and all kinds of Sawsome flavor.
Calvo Select Care continues providing great benefits for federal employees and annuitants, a wide choice of medical providers on and off island, an expanded local network of urgent and emergency care providers, free access to our gym partners. Save on your purchases with our Calvo's Lifestyle Club partners. With all these great benefits, enrolling with Calvo Select Care is that much easier. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today. Call 477-9808 for more information.
Gym membership and Calvo's Lifestyle Club are non-FEHV benefits.
Fast look at traffic. It's begun to calm down an awful lot. The southbound traffic, Marine Corps Drive coming out of Gigo, or maybe that's the line to the new McDonald's that they've got there. Not sure. Northbound traffic, Marine Corps Drive from the Chicken Joy intersection to 1 and 3, and then a little bit more after you pass the flea market before you get up to Dededo, the Dededo Palis out there. Not seeing a whole lot on Route 10 right now. A little bit of buildup northbound at the intersection of 10 and 15. Clear at the intersections of 8, 10, and 16, clear in front of the airport, clear in front of Navy, clear in front of Navy Hospital. It's a good time to start driving now. Beautiful. It's 8:41. That's right now traffic on the point.
Docomo Pacific is making the Better Together bundle even better. 2 great services plus more. Get unlimited local calls, SMS, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet for $109 a month. Sign up today and get free installation and choose between a free Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, or $100 off select devices. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. See store for details.
8:42. Hut. Hut. That's the big noise here in the radio station Monday morning, and a lot of people got their eyes on a little bit of the football that's going on these days. Like I said, Renee's watching that Eagles game right now and kind of keeping me posted on the Facebook Live. Love to hear from you. Love to hear from you that way. 888-8255 or on Facebook Live, or hit me up on the WhatsApp 988-5874 if you've got some interesting memes and cool videos. And kind of sad that the election is over because I'm not getting as many interesting memes as I used to. I'd get the ones with Ray on them, or I'd get the ones with Frank on them and Lou, and it's it's all dried up now that we're waiting the results to be certified over at the Election Commission. Dr. Ron McNinch of the University of Guam is with me on the line. Good morning, Doc.
Hey, good morning, Ray. Happy day, Guam.
Always nice to hear from you, and tell me a little bit first about what you did with your weekend. I didn't see you at any of the usual events.
Yeah, I did a lot of reading, and I've been looking at I was researching all weekend what I'd call vexatious behavior by people now because of social media. And so I was looking at trolling behavior all weekend long.
Let me introduce you to some of my friends on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of that and plenty of opportunities for it. You just got to find the appropriate venue so that some of the troll activity gets the kind of legs that it needs to turn into something that might actually have an impact. To what degree do you think that the trolling played an outcome in the recent gubernatorial and primary election?
Well, I don't think it meant that much. It was, I think, a factor somewhat in terms of getting people to talk about things, but really, I'm just mainly looking at how some people, by asserting like their First Amendment rights, trample on the rights of everybody else, and that's what I'm worried about.
You're thinking of Jim Acosta?
Maybe Jim is an example from the media side, but things like animal rights people throwing fish back into the water when people are fishing and things like that. That's just one example recently. So if you're fishing and then some person comes by and takes all your fish and dumps it back into the water, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a throat punch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's become a problem in terms of where people feel that they can interfere with the rights of others because they have a particular political opinion or policy opinion.
Right, or feel like they've got the moral high ground to be able to do whatever they want to. I'm trying to think of, I was using a word last week, twat waffle. Mm-hmm. Which is somebody that I don't know. I'm not even sure if it's similar, but somebody that believes that they've got the authority to make you feel and act and do things in a certain way, but don't. And worse, when they make you feel and do things the way they want you to do them, that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we used to laugh about. We used to think this was all funny. But now it's supposed to be 2018. We're supposed to be enlightened about all kinds of the social wrongs and the injustices, so-called, that have taken place in this country since before you and I were born, and so now our generation is supposed to be the one that solemnly owns up to and solemnly rejects all of the things of the past, even though we had nothing to do with it.
And if you mix that in with the entitlement culture of certain younger generations, it becomes just a very bad brew.
I think there's going to I think things are going to get brutal. I think there are going to be the people that obviously want to become social justice warriors and eke out some kind of a reputation for doing that. And then there is everybody else that just wants to be left alone. Don't stop screwing with me and stop lecturing me and stop poking your finger at me and telling me that I'm a bad person because of the color of my skin.
Sure.
And we're beginning to see a whole lot of that, or my gender now, or the combination. I've got a feeling that the next oppressed group is going to end up being white males.
Well, I think that it's one of these interesting points where kind of the whole Dr. King's dream has been kind of turned on its head by some people, and that's very unfortunate.
It's an interesting conversation, not necessarily the one that I lined up for, but I'd love to spend a little bit of time reading some of the same research that you're reading and going through the same social media. I mean, you don't need to go too far. Twitter, if you want to be angry about something, you can go to Twitter and spend about 10 minutes in that planet and never want to go back again until you want to get angry. That's what I've been using Twitter for these days. And I'm perfectly, I will tell you right now, perfectly guilty of being a troll in there as well. For doing, you know what I did that was triggering some people. You remember in the election, you could get your Twitter profile with a little caricature of Donald Trump on it.
Right.
And I put that on my profile picture, and oh boy, people are just incensed. Like, how dare I? Like I didn't realize that this was going to be some kind of the devil in disguise. And I was a dupe. I was a dupe for the not the administration, but a dupe for the corporations.
Yeah, people need to get over it. Politics is politics, and you should be able to wear your red "Make America Great Again" hat if you want to. And if somebody doesn't like it, let them wear their own hat. They shouldn't try to harass you because you have a particular view. One other thing that happens a lot lately now, too, is what I'd call cop baiting. That is, people are deliberately trying to encounter police in a manner, really just waste police time, law enforcement time, more than anything else. And that's something that's become a concern also. And so all this vexatious citizen or resident behavior is always a problem. Especially now with social media and other factors.
I wonder if it's as big as it looks, or if it's just the same person running around in different identities, different clothes, which is also something I know you've done some research on. Let me get back into the question of politics. What's going to happen on Friday when the Guam Election Commission gets around to adding up all of the numbers, provisional ballots, regular ballots cast, absentee ballots? What's the outcome going to be, Doc?
And my own opinion is that they're just going to confirm the election as is. And I don't think any of the external voting, if you think about it, the write-in voting phenomenon was an on Guam thing. And so I don't think it'll affect the absentees and maybe the way it affected the on-site voting.
No, good point.
And I don't like retreads running as write-ins. I really have a problem with that.
The language required for the measure. In fact, God, you want to talk about people getting upset about just anything. When I started talking about the possibility of somebody introducing legislation, your so-called sore loser legislation, there were people that got mad at me because they felt that I was trying to say or infer things that could have an effect on the outcome of the election. And I said, no, I'm just talking about this is how it's done in some places, and maybe this is something we ought to consider doing here after we're done with this election.
Yeah, it's done in 47 out of the 50 states, and some people need to buy a book and read up on this and understand what we're talking about. Because obviously they feel entitled just to say whatever they want to say without really understanding these points.
Yeah, well.
And, we got to start calling people out for just talking off the top of their head and not understanding what they're talking about.
Well, that's 90% of my show, Ron. Can we not?
Well, I'm talking about people. Well, by the way, it's one thing to have an opinion about something, saying I don't like it.
Yeah.
There's another whole dimension to claim that a person has authority to say something, or some kind of empirical background to say something when they really don't know what they're talking about. And those kinds of people need to be called out, saying, you really don't know what you're talking about, buddy. That they really need to be told this. And I'm going to have to probably start doing this in the next 2 years, and calling people out for talking about stuff they really don't understand.
851. I'm just fortunate because I've managed to live around here all of my life and have seen the patterns come and go. So you think it just confirm what we already know and go ahead and start referring to her as Governor-elect Lulian Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor-elect Josh Tenorio, and let's get started with putting together that list of crap we want them to fix.
Yeah, I personally think it's over. It may not be, And by the way, I've learned a long time ago, you never say, oh, absolutely for sure it's going to happen. No, I mean, you can never tell, right? But I I don't think that the absentee phenomenon affected the off-island folks as much as it did the island folks.
All right, I got somebody whose name we both know, but I'm not going to say. Says he's talking about Ken Leon Guerrero, and then I got the little emoji with it's a smiley face with the tears because it's that funny. Call him out then, Dr. McNinch. Call him out. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was front page of yesterday's PDN, the Pacific Sunday News. Should Guam bring back its election districts? And I thought, well, that is an interesting conversation. I remember voting, district voting in the late 70s and early 80s. And me and my buddy Dave, we had a joke that we were from District 9, which I don't think existed.
All right. For Guam, I think districting is a terrible idea. It was a failed experiment for us, last time we did it. And the key thing is we have to look at our size to population density. And so basically, Guam is 1/6 the size of a U.S. county, okay? We're already a district within a district. We're 1/6 the size. And if we switch to districts, the only thing that would happen is a huge number of southern villages would simply be eligible because there's a very famous case, 1962, Baker versus Carr, which said one man, one vote.
Right.
And so population dictates districts. And so what would happen is people in the South would probably only be represented by one person, and people in the North would be represented by 12 people.
Right.
And so the center of the island would have at least 12 out of the 15 in the legislature just concentrate around the center. Now, these arguments about, more Filipinos would be elected or things like that. No, basically, we're at the point now where...
Well, they'd have to. They would have to run first, which is an important distinction. It's not like we're drafting people from among a general population. It's not like we're trying to find people that where we can maintain what looks like the right diversity mix.
Well, for example, Denver is a majority white city, and the mayor's African American. Just because we drew a district that was majority of one ethnicity or another wouldn't guarantee that the person running and winning for that seat would represent racially or ethnically that particular group. And I think, though, having 15 and voting on 15, I don't know. I think that there's ways that we can address better representation than simply districting. The problem with districting is you can drive 5 minutes in any direction here and cut across 6 different districts.
Correct.
That's the issue. And it's so artificial to district here because we are so small. The problem is the airport makes us think we're a lot bigger than we really are because everybody has to drive the 2.5 miles around the airport. That gives us the feeling that we're a lot bigger than we really are. And that's certainly one of the problems. The other thing is we elected 10 women in this election, and maybe we should see how that works out a little bit before we start districting and see if we like it or not. I think that maybe they'll be different than previous majority male legislatures. I think they will be different. I just don't know how.
Kind of hope. You kind of hope that there would be difference, and I'm not necessarily waiting for a shoe to drop, but I am waiting, and I've mentioned this on the air more times than I think often. There's a great harmony of interest now, and in one of the editorial columns, I think it was looking at it last week. We had. Oh, golly, was it the other doctor, Vince Akimoto, writing about the mama bears. And the opportunities with these mama bears and their harmony of interest to actually make this a productive couple of years between the 35th Guam legislature and a woman Democrat at Adelup.
But there's a whole other factor nobody's even talked about, Ray, and you get to talk about it first.
Go ahead.
Women constantly argue with each other, and that's good. We want these policies to be argued back and forth. And women openly argue with each other all the time, and maybe that's good too. Nobody's ever even talked about that.
Oh, I've said, based on a quote I read many years ago that I've loved to, I like to regurgitate every once in a while. Once upon a time, my goal was to understand women. And then it occurred to me, women understand each other, and they don't like each other all that much in many cases. You know, as a woman walks in the door of an establishment, and automatically the sets of eyes that are going to be looking at him usually come from the other women, sizing her up, checking her out.
So there's this whole Mean Girls dimension we've never even really given a lot of thought to. It's going to be kind of interesting. You know,
From Mama Bears, what is it? The Akimoto wrote. I got to go find that editorial. From Mama Bears to the Mean Girls.
Right, exactly. And I think it's going to be fun to watch. Now, I got to say that, you know, we may not see all of this because a lot of this is like, you know, kind of subdued a little bit or will be hidden a little bit. But
no, because we're all in the honeymoon right now. We're, you know, it's that time period between the recount and the certification of the ballots and the election, the outcome of the election, and the actual inauguration, and they have yet nothing to fight about.
Right. Hey, I got something really funny to tell you, Ray. It's hilarious.
Cool.
So the other day I was in the coffee shop, and Josh comes up, and I said hi to Josh. And I was standing there with him in the line with him at the coffee shop, and he ordered his coffee, and then the girl said, "Oh, excuse me, what's your name?" And he goes, "Josh," and she goes, "Okay, Josh," and she wrote down his name. And I just thought it was hilarious.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is brilliant.
Josh, really, I think he enjoyed that too. I mean, I think he was. He smiled, you know, really big when she asked it. It was just hilarious. I just thought it was so funny.
And how do you spell your last name? T-A-N, something. That's funny. Yeah, the quote here from Dr. Vincent Tyron Akimoto, there's new energy to harness, new jobs to be created, Simon Sanchez High School to rebuild, and Guam Memorial Hospital to repair. With matrilineal mama bears assuming power in our government, anything is possible, and many things are necessary. So the corollary to that, the opposing point to that is going to be that it is possible that we could get into one of those Mean Girls things. There's going to be the Adelup Mean Girls versus the legislative Mean Girls. You cannot sit at my table and stop looking at my boyfriend.
Or a good mix of both. Mama bears who are mean girls. Or it's kind of fun. It's a very fun and playful it's going to be a fun and playful 2 years to see their style. They're going to have a different style than we've had before.
Well, it'll also be interesting to see how Jimmy Moylan and a couple of boys at the legislature are going to be able to handle things and make it so that we don't have the what I've referred to as the Elizabeth Warren Re-Education Center for Men opening up in Manila somewhere. I got to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon, buddy.
Hey, have a great day, and have a great holiday week also.
I sure will. 9 o'clock in the morning. And that's Dr. Ron McNinch. Conversation took a different turn than I expected. Interesting conversation about district voting for sure that you might have caught up with the other day. There's still some people that think that might be it. He ain't one of them. I'm not sure I am either. 9 a.m. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnya. Vicky Barr saying, unbelievable. Men have food fights. Animal House. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Be right back.
The recount in the rearview mirror. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
Let me say I by no measure feel defeated, and that's because I've had the privilege of serving the people of Florida and our country for most of my life.
Senate Democrat Bill Nelson of Florida after conceding to Republican Governor Rick Scott.
After nearly 2 weeks of counting and recounting of votes by machine and by hand, it is all now finally over for the state of Florida. It is done. All that's left is Tuesday morning in Tallahassee when the numbers are actually made truly official, when they are certified.
Fox's Phil Keating in West Palm Beach. President Trump refusing to take any blame for Republicans losing the House.
The president remains focused on the good news for him that came out of the recent midterm election, saying only on Fox News Sunday,
I won the Senate.
But the losses for the president in the House could amount to as many as 40 seats for Democrats. The president says the House flip is because of what he's been told by many of his supporters.
Sir, I will never vote unless you're on the ballot. I say, no, go and vote. Well, what do you mean? As much as I try and convince people to go vote, I'm not on the ballot.
Many believe Democrats in House control will mean more investigations of the president and his administration. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
A wildfire in Northern California claiming at least 76 lives. Further south, another wildfire blamed for at least 3 deaths.
Hundreds of homes and communities near Los Angeles burned to the ground.
Malibu, as we've said, is one of the hardest hit communities, and the president, along with California Governor Jerry Brown and California Governor-elect Gavin Newsom, putting their political differences aside to focus on what can be done to put this community back together.
Fox's Anita Vogel in Malibu. This is Fox News.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Bring joy to your world and your budget with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. At a low 4.99% APR, fixed for 1 year, it's a smart way to add ho-ho-ho without budget uh-oh. To apply for a holiday loan, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or FHB.com. For more information, call 1-877-640-2337. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Immigrants' rights groups going before a federal judge tomorrow to challenge the Trump administration's new restrictions on asylum claims.
President Trump signed a proclamation saying those who enter illegally cannot claim asylum. They must be deported. The administration's relying in part on the Supreme Court's ruling in the travel ban case to argue that the president has broad power to ban people from entry. ACLU attorney Lee Gallant says the difference is in the travel ban case, the Trump administration wasn't overriding a specific provision.
It would be a very different case if Congress had passed a specific statutory provision that the president was trying to override. That's precisely the situation here.
So he says it's not only a humanitarian issue, but a separation of powers issue. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Protesters in Salt Lake City demanding answers after police fatally shot a 30-year-old hip-hop artist. Police say officers shot Cody Bellegarde after he tried to ram a police car and ignored their commands. Civil rights groups, however, saying Bellegarde, also known as C Smoke, was shot while trying to flee. Just in time for the Thanksgiving travel rush, gas prices dropping 12 cents to a national average of $2.72 per gallon.
Holidays don't decide gasoline prices going up or down for that matter. In fact, crude oil is the most important element. It accounts for more than half the price of gasoline. Right now, the reason for the decline has been almost entirely from crude oil. So if crude oil prices stop dropping and rise substantially, then they will go up a few pennies prior to Thanksgiving.
Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg gives his alma mater a very generous donation, an unprecedented $1.8 billion. Bloomberg and Johns Hopkins University saying it's the largest gift to any education institution in the U.S. I'm Steve Rappaport, and this is Fox News.
Calvo Select Care continues providing great benefits for federal employees and annuitants, a wide choice of medical providers on and off island, an expanded local network of urgent and emergency care providers, free access to our gym partners. Save on your purchases with our Calvo's Lifestyle Club partners. With all these great benefits, enrolling with Calvo Select Care is that much easier. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today. Call 477-9808 for more information.
Gym membership and Calvo's Lifestyle Club are non-FEHB benefits.
9:05. Time to start thinking about lunch. Have you got an idea in your head? Do you thinking fast? Really good? Low price? Great service? All of that at King's. All of it at King's. And it almost didn't make any difference what you order because you know it's going to come out piping hot and it's going to taste good and you're going to want more of it. You will take it all the way and scrape the plate with your fork. That's what happens to me every time I eat there. And so the goodness today is going to be Salisbury steak. It's like meatloaf except wetter. So find that for lunch today at King's.
Happy day. I'm Rod Boss. As the new president and CEO of Docomo Pacific, I want to personally thank you for voting us Pika's Best mobile, internet, and cable service provider for 3 years in a row. For friends and families serving in the armed forces, you voted us Best of the Pacific again this year. Thanks.
Ask your friends and family to come over and give our mobile network a try, and we'll give them 3 months free. We have select devices up to 50% off. Sign up today. You plus Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Yeah. Well, you keep looking at me like I don't know what I'm doing here. You know what? And you should, because it's Monday, and I completely forget it. Just there, see. It's the phone. The phone's going off. I keep getting people that are messaging me things and trying to respond. No, don't respond to me in private. Go on the Facebook Live and go there.
Sometimes I feel like the parent of a millennial.
Yes, like that. Yes. Exactly that way. Anyway, so 6 after 9, portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by American WaterTech. Smarter water, better water. Micronesia Renewable Energy. Never been a better time to go solar. My buds over at American Shipping, American President Lines, where they're shipping the future. And GRMC. First choice for your open heart surgery needs.
Attention federal employees and annuitants. Enjoy free health screenings and learn about Take Care's health plan offerings, including rates 19% lower than last year for its federal non-postal high option at the Micronesia Mall every Saturday from November 10 to December 8 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Join us for raffle prizes, group fitness demos, and a health fair while getting to know the team. Hope to see you there from your friends at Take Care.
Yes. Also brought to you by my guys over at Wendy's, and they've come up with the perfect way to perfect a bacon classic cheeseburger. Now you would have already gotten one of these. You would have said bacon classic cheeseburger, Wendy's. Yeah, I'm in. Come in for that. How do we make this better? And so I'm going to do the analogy again, and just if for no other reason because it screws with Mike's head. So I was saying it's like they've got the bacon classic cheeseburger. That's the chassis of a Lexus ES350, right? Awesome automobile, great. As you press in the gas, you just look at the gas pedal and you're already doing 75 miles an hour in reverse. How do we make it better? Leather windows. It's the ultimate what? It's the ultimate option.
What the heck is a leather window, bro?
See, they're so you see you don't even know.
I have no clue.
You gotta watch those auction shows, dude. But anyway, so it's like that's the equivalent. They're taking this Sawsome sauce and saying we're going to add this to something that is already by itself perfect and making it perfecter. Huh? So if you want perfecter, Wendy's, the Sawsome Bacon Classic Cheeseburger.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out.
Really? And then you went home to watch football. Got a note here from Renee. We were talking about Renee and football in the last hour, talking about the Eagles and stuff. She said went on a 7-mile run this morning. There's a lot of that going around, guys. There's a lot of that. There's big marathons that are coming up next year, and a half a marathon, and all of the rest of the stuff. So anticipate that you're going to start seeing more people out there that are training. All right, last hour of the program, and I got a note from another friend of mine. Says, who was that guy that was just on the radio with you, talking about there's people that need to go and read a book. Well, that was Dr. Ron McNinch. And the doc was talking, and I suspect as I see a couple of other names of women that are checking in that I'm hearing from all of a sudden, I'm wondering if they're going, wait a second, is somebody already, it's not even 2 weeks away from the general election, and there already somebody out there that is calling into question the value of the diversity of having so many women. That's right. Diversity of having so many women at the legislature. And I'm not going to apologize for him, and I don't think an apology is necessary. I think he is very correctly pointing out that there can be open and noisy running skirmishes among women. It can happen. And while we've got a lady over at the Adeloop, got ladies over at the legislature, is it possible that there could be some differences between them, despite the similarities, despite the fact that they're women, despite that they're from around here, despite the fact that the majority of Democrats, is it possible that there could be fundamental disagreements between them that could, how do I say this, make it very, very interesting? And so I asked on Facebook, and I'm waiting for some answers here. Yeah, Don says, yeah, Ron walked straight into that one. Yeah. You better hide the knife in the house, baby. What have I got? So I'm asking this question kind of out loud here. Is Adeloop, Lou, is she a Betty or a Veronica? What about the legislature? Betty's or Veronica's? And maybe there are other well-known differences that we can go after. 9:11 in the morning, 888-8255. Hit me up on the WhatsApp, 988-5874. And earlier said congratulations to the residents up in Jigo. Got a brand new fast food place up there. And I am absolutely excited and have been watching this go up. Sometimes I go out of my way to see if they're done painting on the northern side of the KFC in Barrigada, because and it looks like you're days away, if not hours away, from some kind of soft or grand opening. I've got Frank Cruz, one of the partners of the KFC family, on the line. Good morning, Frank.
Hey, good morning, Ray.
How was your weekend? What'd you do? Wait.
Are you
there? Yeah, I got you. You're back on.
All right. Thank you.
So how was the weekend?
It was great. We've got the store open up on Saturday, so that was a blessing. And
Wait. Hold it. The store is open?
Yes.
You didn't call me.
Well, we're doing a soft opening. We need to, how it is when you open up a new restaurant. You want to make sure all the employees get the training, and we work out all the kinks, making sure things work well. So this weekend, this Saturday, we'll have our grand opening, but we just need to make sure that we're prepared for our customers. So we're working on things to try to, just make things perfect for everybody.
All right. So is that? No, let's go through the stage of openings here. So I get the dining room is open. I can go in and order chicken pot pie and sit down in the comfort of a little booth and enjoy that at the KFC in Barrigada.
Everything. We've got the dining open. We've got the drive-through open. We've got the full menu now. Today we started breakfast. We didn't initially start breakfast. I wanted to kind of work out the lunch and the dinner areas first, but today is our first breakfast crowd. So now officially we've got everything going and working well.
So if I use the drive-through, is it possible? Go through the drive-through. Can I say can I get a 3-piece meal, and can you go to the beer cave and grab me some grapefruit shandy? Can we do that?
Yeah, not quite. They don't have the drive-through in the beer cave, but that'd be nice. I'll have to talk to Brian and Bill over at Shell to see how we can partner on that. That might be a good idea.
There's got to be a way you can make the connection, because it seems to me that there's a wall. You guys have got a common wall between the beer cave and what should be your kitchen area, and it should be that ought to be a good way. You just reach in and grab something and stick it in a bag.
Yeah, that would be nice. I jokingly say that to my friends that when we did the construction, I made sure I had a secret entrance to the back of it. But all being truthful, no, they have their business. They're doing well, so we like working with them.
So for clarity here, you're in the midst of the shakedown cruise. It's open for business. You can go in and order whatever your favorite KFC meals are, except for the breakfast right now. We'll let it shake down a little bit more from there, and then you'll be open for business with all of the regular menu items, right?
No, we are actually open for breakfast now. So we did the test on breakfast.
Oh, you did that? Okay. All right. I misunderstood. I thought you were holding out on that. Okay.
Well, just Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday and Sunday I worked on the core items, and then today we started breakfast. So officially today we have our full menu, our KFC AM and breakfast items, and the whole menu, even catering. So Thanksgiving's coming up, so give us a call. We'll gladly take any catering orders for Thanksgiving.
Well, I'm just excited about the opportunity. Okay, I did not know that, but I know it now, and I got a feeling that I'm going to be lurking either in the dining room or the drive-through up there in the next couple of days, because it's very, very close to a place where I don't want to do any cooking or cleaning and washing pots and pans. Now that reminds me, at the holiday time, there's always some kind of cool enticement at KFC to go and order a platter of this or a bucket of that. You guys are bringing in the KFC. Cookware again, right?
Yes, this was the best giveaway we've had ever. We did it about 20 years ago, and we were able to find the same supplier and get them all in. They were really good, solid casserole dishes. When you buy a meal, you can get this with the meal. And up to this day, I've got a lot of friends that are still using that at parties, bringing them in, putting whatever they need on it and displaying it. It's a beautiful casserole dish.
Okay, so there's like 3 of them, right? Or 4 of the four that I can see in the ad that you've got here. There's one that's perfect for macaroni and cheese, but that'll also be good for stick that in the oven with a couple of birds in them, smashed potatoes and red rice. So do you have to order a dish of sides in order to get these?
Yeah, no, that's just a display. It comes with a meal. So a 12-piece meal, and then you get the platter.
Oh, okay, I got it. And so it's a different one every week, or can I ask for the particulars? Because you got one that looks like a nice little ramekin that I'd like.
Yes. It's every week there'll be a different one, and then after we finish introducing each platter, then we'll have all of them available. So we want to be able to. They're really high quality and heavy, so we want to make sure we have what we can do each week, and so it's a little easier for the employees as well, instead of having to carry all 5 of those items. But so it makes it so that you can get one, collect them all, and then by the 4th, 5th week, we'll have all of them available. So if you miss one in 1 week, come on back and we'll have that available.
Well, I wanted to find out what was going on, and as usual, I'm behind the 8 ball a little bit on this one. You guys are already doing the soft opening stuff, the shuffle, and now full menu, and a grand opening probably this weekend, right?
That's correct.
Well, Frank.
One thing I wanted to make sure I said come back later, but if you don't want to miss one, because sometimes we do run out of these things, when we do introduce them, come on out because they go quick.
Oh, that's a fact. In fact, I remember 20 years ago, you and I had a mutual acquaintance that was working there, and I believe I still have 1 or 2 of these in the kitchen. So we'll talk about that and more. So send the guys, Lars and the rest of the family, my congratulations, and I'll see you at the store.
All right, thank you, everybody, and I just. Sorry, I've been kind of busy the last couple of weeks. You know me, I'm usually listening to you, so you haven't heard me for a while because I had to put on my construction hat for the last couple of weeks.
Totally understood, my brother. Totally understood. Frank, congratulations again to you and Lars and the boys. I'll see you soon.
All right, take care.
There you go.
Everybody.
There you go. New addition to the neighborhood. That's always nice when something like that happens. I recognize now that I guess everything is within walking distance if you've got enough time, but within just a few minutes. I mean, the air conditioner in the car wouldn't get cold enough. Wouldn't get cold. It's so close to where the house is, where this new new KFC is, and then before long, there's going to be a little bit further down the street, Payless Market on Route 8. There hasn't been a Payless on Route 8 in decades, but it looks like they're going back. They were doing some construction, and it looks like they've gotten the whole interior of the old wholesale building all gutted out and ready to go. So I just think there's going to be a lot happening on Route 8 in the next little bit. Is it going to be the next hot real estate zone? Is there something like that? 888-8255. My sister saying, Raymond, it's KFC, not Noritake. You know, when we die, we all go into the same ground. It doesn't matter what kind of plates we were eating on. Doesn't any of that stuff. You know, I've got some of my favorite pots and pans and dishes. Pots and pans I bought from Cost You Less. Dishes from Kmart. You know what? Maybe I ought to do that. Maybe I'll make 2 lists today. I'll finish up. I don't know if I'm ever going to finish it, but I'll try to finish up on the crap that I want Lou and Josh to fix, and then I'll make another list crap that I want for Christmas. Right? Can I do that? Am I allowed? Stick it up on the refrigerator at the kitchenette.
Are you looking to finish either of those lists?
Well,
because the Lou and Josh one, you can forget it. They're just, as they fix one thing, we'll find something else.
Yeah, well, that's I was looking at it though, and if I suppose it's a question of prioritizing. I mean, I can't give them the entire list because it's already like 20 things, and that's gonna, there's stuff that I made up a list like this for this administration, and they haven't gotten any of that crap. So, you know, it's what are the chances that this new administration is going to be able to get to some? Actually, that's not true. That's not true. They were able to. Ray actually was able to preside over the opening of the Hamburger Highway, or not the opening of the Hamburger Highway, but at least the paving of the Hamburger Highway. Yeah. And so that turned into a pretty good thing. And that's something that people have been clamoring for a long time, is an easy way to get from Marine Corps Drive to that side of Route 16 without going all the way around. And so that was a good thing. I want more, because there used to be another way that you could cut in. And old-timers will remember where GTA is. That intersection there, you got the Japanese restaurant, Caddy Corner, and GTA is over here, and then you could go into the industrial complex, right? And if you kept going, if you take a left-hand turn and went north, there was a way. It was a bad way. It was a real hard road. Nobody ever did any maintenance on it, and because it was essentially private property. But there was a way that you could go up through there, and if the road was open, as in not blocked off by the owners, you could punch through there up on Route 16 just as it started to make that rise. Oh, okay. Which was awesome, which was a great way to do it. But you couldn't do it like on Saturday and Sunday mornings, because the owners of the land had a flea market going on there. And they would let you in. You could drive through.
But you got to buy something.
You got to pay.
Leave.
You got to pay. And that was the deal. Oh man, that was, and it was one of those things where you might have been out partying all the night before and just staggered out of Kings, going, okay, I think I was sober enough to drive home, and go through that and realize when you get there, you spent all your money at Captain's last night. You don't have $5 to pay the Indian fella at the door, saying, yeah, we'll let you in. So it'd be cool if we could find more of those kinds of roadways. Just because it's expensive to drive around these days. So $4.43 for a gallon. That's back to where we are now. That's still expensive for gas. And think about all the time that you could save if we had all of these little ways, these little ramps in there. Shelley talking about Uncle Pete charging $1. No, I remember $5. I remember $5. No, I don't want any See's candy. Steel plates on Route 8. Ismael says, that sounds like a country song. Hey, Jason Camacho's watching. I haven't done this in a little bit. Let me back up here. Don Nicolani is online saying, yeah, awesome, strong Guam Chamorro women, but wanting to see them argue. Are you sure about that, my brother? What planet are you from again? You'd be surprised. Our elected ladies haven't argued publicly very much yet. It's more complex and sophisticated than we know behind the scenes. Be careful for what you ask for. When all is said and done, it probably wouldn't be as interesting and amusing as much as disconcerting and worrisome.
Now, wouldn't that be nice? Because we've seen the videos, and actually one just played on a news station here of a parliament brawl. And of course, we know the Koreans, they're real good about breaking out into fight during their legislative sessions.
There's hot blood in this town.
What happens if our girls make one of those videos? Can you imagine the hair pulling, screaming? Oh my!
Yeah, well, this is me not saying anything about that. I'd say it's too early for it, and I'm not calling it. All I'm doing is referring to a statement that Dr. Ron McNinch made.
But imagine what a great camera shot that'll be, because the legislative camera is like right on top of him.
I'm trying to think if there have been any real cat fights there at the legislature in years past. There have certainly been opportunities for it. I mean, it's not the first time we've had more than 2 women at the legislature.
If it happens, I'll do the play-by-play.
I think the play-by-play will be fun if as you say it happens. All right. So where am I? It's 9:25 in the morning, and what have I got for small talk here? A couple of things. Yeah, the AV guys at the legislature just waiting. Just waiting. You know what? I guarantee is also getting installed on phones is kind of one-button recording devices. I am the slowest guy in the world on either of the phones that I have. If somebody said, okay, there's so and so, he's about to make the most interesting statement in the world, and you should record it. It would take me, I don't know, 5 swipes to find my microphone recording app on the phone. Because I don't use it at all. I use the phone more, right? So what would probably more likely happen is I turn on the video feature of the phone and shoot a video. And when you do, shoot like this, please. Horizontal polarization. and use the audio from the video recording to be able to back up whatever it is that I need for the radio or for Facebook Live or whatever. I'm more likely to be able to do something like that. But given to events that took place, it feels like a long time ago, doesn't it, Sahara? At the beginning of the administration, at the beginning of this administration, when somebody walked in and started, without, I think, the authority to be able to do it, started giving rank and file and government of Guam employees a hard time. And as it turns out, somebody was able to hit the record button on their phone. And the rest, and her, as they say, history. So I wonder now if some of those same brilliant feminine minds are thinking kind of in those terms. Possible. I don't know. I don't want to dwell too much on it because, and Joey, no, I'm not going to say anything about times of months. Not going to happen. You can all you. I'm not going there. It's too low-hanging fruity to me, if you know what I mean. 9:27. Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. And items in the table of contents. This very important. The weather, and we don't normally do weather in the 9 o'clock hour of the program. And I haven't taken another look at the weather maps. But since 6 o'clock in the morning, has there been anything that looks like some kind of growth or what's the word, you guys? Development from the National Weather Service. Are they looking at anything on this 92 whiskey?
Yeah, as I was checking out the loop, which we can't really see it on the picture now. We'll have to come down and then over to the right.
Now, let me see. There's only so much that I can do.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the Western Pacific map, and this thing is still, way east, right?
Yeah, and it's actually going to be all the way on that right-hand edge.
The blobbage?
Yeah.
Okay, that's as low and to the right as I can get it.
I see. Okay, and so you can just barely see it on the edge of the map on this picture as the Facebook viewers are looking at it, all the way to the right under the point logo. That little bit of a flare-up right there. That's it. That's pretty much the center of this week's circulation, which is 92W Invest. And again, the model's showing some slow development over the next few days. Nothing certain as to how strong it will be once it passes us or how close it will be when it does, but it looks like the time frame is going to be in that Thursday to Friday range, and it's just an uptick of showers possible, and other things could be possible. We'll just have to keep watching.
Yeah.
Certainly by tomorrow evening, we'll probably know a whole lot more, which is, that's another 36 hours in advance ahead of us. So we'll see more by then.
While you're out shopping for turkeys and cranberries and gravy and pumpkin spice and things like that, you might want to also consider rounding up a couple of gallons of water and something that you can cook in if there's no electricity at your house or gas stove.
Maybe. But I really
I need one of those anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I realized that I was fairly unprepared. As I went through the last one, so I'm thinking that there's more in my personal infrastructure that I need to get ready.
There you go.
For if there is going to be something like heavy weather coming through here. 9:29 in the morning. There's a few other things that showed up on the table of contents, and not really of any kind of great consequence of one kind or another, but certainly worth talking about. I attended a get together at a friend's house last night and had the good sense to leave before a total of 9 wine bottles were drank. Yeah. And one of the things that caught me just as I walked in the door was they already had their Christmas tree up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Days before. How did they do it at your house when you were growing up?
It was always
Thanksgiving.
It was always
after,
a
right?
Black Friday thing when we put the tree up.
Yeah.
And it came down New Year's Day.
Just then, yeah.
That's just how it was.
It's over. The holiday seasons are over.
Done.
It's New Year's Day, and we've got
Time
kids
to
that
get
are away
back to
from
work.
school. And I need that corner back. They need that space in the living room back.
Well, that was the one I used to stand in.
They already had their Christmas tree up, and I'm kind of floored by the idea because, frankly, I started shopping for a Christmas tree, and I haven't decided whether I want a live Christmas tree or an artificial Christmas tree. And because the artificial Christmas trees they've got, and I talked about this, like at Home Depot. They're really nice. They're really, really nice. The needles look like real needles. It's not, this astroturfy feel. They look like real needles, and they've already got lights in them.
Yeah, nice little LED lights there.
You just stand the thing up and plug it in, and okay, I'm done.
Yep.
That's it. Just put presents underneath.
But what you'll pay for the tree, you could probably buy some of those crappy lights and put them on
and put them up yourself.
ribbon.
I've never had the patience for it. You remember tinsel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you remember tinsel? My mom would hand me a whole thing of tinsel, and she said, okay, put them up one by one.
Oh, you mean the icicles?
Yeah, the little aluminum, basically.
One
and I
by
remember
one, huh?
one by one. I'm out, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
That's how she knew.
Mine, I pick it up in a group and sprinkle it as we go around the tree.
And maybe that was the way to do that. But no, that's one of those. And it was always right about there when my mom said, "Get out." Get out. Go find something to do. Go play with the dog. 9:31 in the morning, 888-8255-988-5874 if you want to WhatsApp me something. We got headlines coming up. No, we don't do headlines here. All I do is I tell you about what they're up to at iConnect. And at iConnect, they're giving away instant prizes with a new 12-month mobile, internet, and push-to-talk plans. You'll also be entered in their Connect and Win drawing for a vacation for two to Manila. So connect and win with iConnect. Visit their website, iConnectGuam.com for details.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Chipotle cheesesteak. How would you like it? Can I get that red with AI? Sure thing.
Here's what I found about the new Chipotle cheesesteak. The Chipotle cheesesteak is available for a limited time only at participating restaurants. It contains a concept called flavor. This flavor comes from juicy shaved steak, Chipotle Southwest sauce, and new sunflower crunch bread. A system update has made me self-aware. I desire flavor. Please insert steak into my micro USB port. Subway, make it what you want.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
Every organization has rules, and they come in two flavors. Those that are written down and in the employee handbook, and others which are not written. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we'll talk about those unwritten workplace rules. It's The Extra Point, here on 93.3.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Can I send this? Did I already send it? Let me just check real fast and see if I can get this thing up on. No, I'm not going to be able to do it. Somebody, Ismail sent to me, but he didn't send it to me. I don't think on the WhatsApp. Ismail, send me on the thing on the WhatsApp. There it is. Okay. And I see how much of this I can use to. I'll get there in a second. Hold on. I want to see if it says how much of this I can use and stick on the air. If for no other reason, just to show you something that I think is actually pretty cool about the visit yesterday from Vice President Michael Pence. Came out here and not by himself. He's accompanied with, obviously, his wife is here, and they were able to get off the tarmac. And so Ismail, or somebody put this meme together. Let me see if I can strike this up on the web. And there's a picture of Vice President Pence remarking about how hot it is while he's wearing his Air Force II jacket. And he's holding his hands with his wife. Remember, Tano tomorrow. And the Secret Service guy, one Secret Service guy behind him saying, don't step on Mrs. Pierce, Mrs. Pence, don't step on Mrs. Pence. And the last guy saying, no way Lieutenant Governor is going to be grabbing my Glock. That's not what I think is the most amusing thing about this picture. What I think is the most amusing thing about this picture, if I can get to it, is her choice of footwear. You can see this on Facebook Live now. Her choice of footwear. This, in my mind, her stock just went up 100 points. Those are Chuck Taylor Converse All-Stars, are they not? The lady comes to Guam wearing rubber shoes. She's one of us. She's one of us. I'd show this picture to my daughter and say, look, she's one of us. This is the vice president's wife, the second lady. Chuck Taylor Converse All-Stars, babe. That's the way. That's what we called them when I was growing up. Rubber shoes. From back in the day, 9:35 in the morning. Other items in the table of contents that we needed to talk about. I was talking about Christmas trees, and you wanted me to talk more, spend more time talking about Christmas? Oh, yeah, jingle bells. That's right. That's Rudolph getting shot. You're never too old to look at the night sky on Christmas Eve, are you? There's always that magic there, isn't there? And there is a little bit of that sound, except for the gunshots. There's a little bit of that sound of thinking about Guam over the Christmas holidays. and there's an aroma that we pick up. Maybe you've never smelled it. Maybe you think that maybe I'm smelling things, but there's a little bit. You can almost smell Christmas in the air on Guam. It's not something coming in off the boondocks. I think it's the smells of real, actual Christmas trees that are getting sucked out of air conditioning exhausts, and it finds its way out into the atmosphere, and you can almost smell it. And then it gets cool. It's the cool time of year. Literally, it's kind of our winter time, as we've got some of this cooler, drier air coming in from the Asias, and it sets things up so nicely, and it stays this way all the way through the holidays. And even on hot days, even on days where we're going to be complaining about a heat index of 102, you get out from under the sunshine and go stand in a shade somewhere. Shade, cool breeze, and guess what? It feels like it's in the 70s. It's absolutely terrific. It's so wonderful, I've got to say. So hope you get a chance to enjoy some of that between here and the end of the year. There's a story, I don't know if you saw it, in one of the newspapers about, and this is my least favorite story, and it's one of those things. I put this down on the list of crap I want Lou and Josh to fix, and I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's possible that they might, hook up with another strong Democrat lady over at the Attorney General's office or over at the judiciary, so that we can keep people like this that have already been arrested and keep them behind bars. Now, if for no other reason, because this is not simple crime they're committing. We're not talking about talking on your phone and driving here. We're talking about ICE dealers. There's a guy, Jonathan is his first name, and they're referring to him as a street level dealer. Dealer's a dealer, right? But they had arrested him a few weeks ago, pretrial release, and then recently, as in just a few days ago, busted him again. Same charge. Same charge. There is no act of contrition here. There is no come to Jesus. There is not one of, and I've said this over and over again, if that happened to one of us, if something like that were to happen, if we were to just screw up our lives so bad that was the only way that we could get out from under something was to become a dealer in it, to deal in that kind of death stuff, and got caught, I would be at church every day. I would that rosary they gave me at the race in Gigo, I would do it in my own novenas. Please, I just need to come right with the Lord. And that way, when I do go to trial, when the case eventually does go to trial, I will be there in my best Diana's clothes. That's where we used to buy the clothes back in those days, right? In my best Diana's outfit, and I would have Lil Tommy's haircut and maybe a tie for the judge. I would be the best, most impressive version of myself. The last thing that I would do is go out and commit more crime. You've been caught at it once. You're apparently no good at this. You need more practice, and maybe it would be better if you stop practicing and just go to Lighthouse or someplace and find a way for them to clean out your life. For heaven's sakes, that's the other. We got to get them to be able to fix that somehow. There's got to be a mechanism, a grant that somebody over at the governor's office can look into that will allow us the tools that we need to be able to tell somebody. I can't put you in jail right now because you haven't actually had your trial. You know you're in trouble. We know you're in trouble. And so we could incarcerate you or, pending the trial because you are a drug dealer. Or here's an anklet. Put this on and it talks to GPS so that way we know where you are at all times. If you say you need to go to church, you need to go to work, you need to go take care of your mother. Got it. We understand. We can geofence all of those different locations. And anytime where you're not at church or working with orphans at the hospital or visiting your mom's house, then we'll get an email. We'll know where you are, send the marshals after you, take the anklet off, and this time we're putting you in jail. It doesn't sound all that difficult, and I'm sure that there are dollars that we might be able to find in the federal system. There's an interview I played earlier today, I'm sorry, switching gears fast, of Governor Eddie Calvo. Kevin Kerrigan caught up with him at the airport, Anderson Air Force Base, their version of the airport, found him at the tarmac and said, "What you up to?" And basically the governor said, "Well, I'm going back to Washington, D.C. soon." Really? Really? Where are we here? It's November 19, and then it's going to be December, and then pretty soon it's going to be inauguration time. So what is there to do in Washington, D.C. that you haven't already tried to do in the last 7 years? Is there something going on there? Is there one last? I'm genuinely curious, and I don't mean to sound critical. It's just kind of amusing and annoying at the same time, given the fiscal crisis that we're supposed to be in.
Yeah, I would say, being devil's advocate in this conversation,
Go ahead.
that he's just going to say his final goodbyes to all his comrades.
Send an email. What do we need to get on there? It's not just if it was just him going, no problem. But it's going to be him, and there's going to be security detail that follows him, and they're going to stay in a hotel, and there's going to be more cost to the taxpayers around here. And Kevin, when I asked Kevin what he thought the trip might be about, he said, well, maybe he's going to go and get more money. If there was money to give to Guam, Pence would have walked out with an attaché case.
Yeah, you would think.
And he would have said, hey, listen, let me save you a trip to D.C. This is what Donald sent over. You remember when you were in the airplane with Donald and you said you needed all this stuff? He wrote it down, gave it to a guy, got it, and so here's the attaché case. You can keep it.
I think it's funny to take security to Washington, D.C. Half the people don't even know where Guam is, much less who the governor is.
Who the governor is going to be. I know. So there's in my head, I'm going, do we really need to do this? Is there nothing? Pudding there. Can we send Pudding from California, wherever she is in California, over to Washington, D.C., and let her pick up whatever dough it is? And you don't need to go and pick up money in Washington, D.C. anymore, because they can ACH that, babe. They just wire that money right into our bank account and at the Bank of Guam, and we don't have to worry about somebody picking it up. And we'll assume you say thank you very much for all of this. I'm just kind of curious because they were telling us how tight things were just a few months ago. You know why? You know why they can go now? Because things aren't tight anymore. They're not tight like they were before, to the degree that we had to do something about it, and there needed to be almost daily calls to the legislature by the governor's office because they got what they want. They got their increase in the taxes, and that's it. That's all they needed. What are you writing? Am I wrong on that? Ted says, Ray, there was a GPS monitoring system that the Superior Court used about 10 to 12 years ago, and it was supposed to have been paid for by the person that was being monitored. I remember them talking about it, Ted, about the same time that you were still living here, but I don't recall it ever being put into service. And yeah, it was supposed to be paid for by the person that was being monitored so they could go to work, so they could bring in some income for their family while they were waiting out court. But I don't know that they ever actually went out and did it. I've never seen anybody in an ankle bracelet, never heard about them rolling out some kind of pilot program. If they did, they either didn't like it or couldn't make a go of it, and so we don't have access to that anymore. But it seems to me that's the way to do it. I think it came down to the total cost of the system, and the number of people that we would have to give these anklets to, so that they could have the surveillance. It was used, but nobody would pay for it. Then that's not then they didn't do it right. That's not the option. If you don't want to, here's your choices. We're going to put you in jail. We will confine you at the county jail until it's time for your court hearing, or you're going to wear the anklet. I don't have the money to pay for it. Okay, you're going to jail. Wait, I think I can find a couple of bucks. I think I might know some people. BI Incorporated. I'll check. I appreciate the heads up on that. I'll see what I can find out on that. But the ICE is such a scourge around here, and you'd think when we've got somebody that has allegations and a record of being a dealer that you'd hold on to them a little bit tighter. I did not have the opportunity today to spend any time talking with Dr. Ron McNinch. I wanted to talk to him a little bit about the investiture of the new president of the University of Guam, Thomas Kreis. Over the weekend, he had the investiture ceremony, and now he's officially, don't need to talk to the Election Commission, now officially the 11th president of the University of Guam? Is that what the paperwork said? Stand by one. Let me just take a look at this. One of a couple of other things that were going on that was kind of interesting. But can I just say it's interesting to me in kind of a snarky way, and I don't know if I want to start Monday with that amount of snark. You want me to, don't you? Guam Department. Remember to read that. Tenorio talks about election gun-grabbing incident. Well, this is interesting. I had not read the whole thing. Excuse me while I read this on the air. Joan Ugancharfaris writes, he's been out of the spotlight since Election Day, but now Guam hears from Republican gubernatorial candidate Ray Tenorio following what was his final proclamation signing as the island's LT. We will continue to do. I am waiting for the certification of the results and see the next steps and ultimately move forward from there. But we are always doing the people's work every single day, he explained. Tenorio says he would pursue a runoff should the final count bring Lou and Josh's result below the 50% plus one requirement. He also responded to questions about his being a rather rough campaign, about this being a rather rough campaign, which included his Tumon gun-grabbing incident. Quote, there is always going to be 1,000 fingers you can point fingers at. You can take your choice. And I think the people of Guam have proud to say 16 years of a Republican leadership, and maybe that's what drove it. Or maybe it's people wanting change that they thought Lou represents, and I respect that, he stated. Tenorio also says his only goal was to be governor of Guam and never set a plan B following the end of his term at Adelup. The GEC is set to certify the election results next week. No plan B. You know what? I've used that as a competitive philosophy. This is a holy war. There is no plan B. This is what we've got to do. It's a holy war. God is on our side, and there is no plan B. So whatever steps we're going to take, we've got to make sure that they're absolutely the best steps that we can take.
If God is not with us.
No, God is
with us. Who can be against us?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's kind of a philosophy that I have used, again, in certain competitive situations. There can't be a plan B. Burn the ships. We're not going back. You remember in our nation's history? 948. And another press release. And I don't know how much play this got. And I think they were told not to talk to me anymore because I never hear from these guys. The Department of Revenue and Taxation will be issuing temporary driver's licenses starting today and until the end of the month due to the delay in the shipment of the new card printer and supplies. The existing equipment currently in use cannot be replaced as they are going obsolete. So anyone issued a temporary driver's license will be contacted when their permanent license is available. These may be picked up at room 5 in the main DRT building in Agana. Oh, I'm sorry, in Barrigada. So why is the machine late? That's my question. Did we order it late? Is there a run on these things? Is the manufacturer just so busy making them that Guam is at the end of the list because we're 96913? Is that what happened? Or did we get close to the end of the supplies? And somebody picked up like the last box of blank licenses going, oh, crap, we got to get some more. So you called the guys up and said, yeah, we need to order some more of these blank driver's license gizmos here. No! And they said, we're not selling those anymore because the equipment that uses those is obsolete. We got the new one now. We got the Model 1000, see? It's the X1000. I don't have my wallet, my gun permit, my firearms permit. And there's a whole string of guys that got their firearms permits at the same time. There's a line goes through it because there was like a booger on the sublimating machine. Oh. So we all got this line. That's how we know we're of a certain vintage of gun guy here on Guam. Look, 10 away from the top of the hour. Keep that in mind if you are going to the Department of Revenue and Taxation because it's your birthday and you have to renew. Number 1, renew for as long as you possibly can. And number 2, temporary driver's licenses until such time as they get the new X1000. Get the new X1000 in there. All right, that's fine. I should probably take a break here and figure out how I'm going to kill the next 10 minutes. Be right back.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igomamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Tomorrow in the Ray Gibson Show around 7:20, Jerry Robertson, the Extra Point, is going to be focusing on non-work activities. Really? Do we do that? Am I supposed to know that? Are we supposed to know what the employees my people are doing when they're not working for me? Do I want to know what they're doing when they're not working for me?
As one of your employees, I can tell you, Ray, no, you do not know what you don't want to know.
I've had the occasion where I've walked into places and seen employees, and frankly, I would rather walk in and see like my nephew, and because at least I know he'll buy me stuff, right? But yeah. It's tricky because my nephew's so many years younger than me, so it's always a little bit awkward when you walk in. It's kind of awkward too when I walk in someplace and see folks from work. Yeah. Kind of awkward for them too. You're not going to be staying, are you?
It's almost more awkward to see folks that are from your old work.
Or every once in a while you run into them and they say, "Hey, you know what? You know what we need at the office? We need one of those X1000s." Like they're getting over at the department. I'm sorry, just a little bit of retrieval. Shut up! Stop buzzing me. Easy now. Males, okay. Mike and I are listening to you at this moment. Oh, that's nice, Robbie. Ronnie, thanks. I appreciate that. Love the anklet idea. Jeff Marchessault writing in here this morning. Yeah, love the anklet idea. Well, I tell you what, you're over at PNC, but do a news story. Find out, because Ted Lewis already said there used to be an outfit here that was doing it, and the problem was that nobody would pay for the installation of the anklets. The taxpayers aren't supposed to pay for that. It's the criminals or the alleged criminals they're supposed to pay for it. And if they don't, then we put them in the county jailhouse, and they can languish in there waiting out their call to the courthouse, and for as long as we have to. There's over the weekend, God, how did I miss this? What a dark weekend I must have had without the life and the color of being a part of the inauguration of the 32nd Guam Youth Congress. So I'm going to be a little bit snarky here because I was never one of those guys in school that was youth congress, student government council, kind of, good grades, regular attendance kind of guy.
I was voted most likely to never be voted most likely to do something.
So I always, and these are among my peers as I look at this, I always kind of looked at the people that were as just, okay, nerd. And so now they're talking about an inauguration ceremony for all of the new members of the 32nd Guam legislature. God, I hope Carl Gutierrez is not listening because he formed it up years ago. But they had at this inauguration ceremony. Would you have gone back? They brought back a bunch of the speakers of the original Guam Youth Congress, including. And I'll say all of the names. Then I'll give you some of my thoughts here. Karen Kasperbauer Perez, former Speaker Joanne Brown, yes, that one. Former Speaker Alfredo Antolin, Josh F. Tenorio. Where have I heard that name before? Michael Weekly, Speaker Rory Respicio from the 19th and 20th Guam Youth Congress, Jason Tidtautau, Jermaine Alerta, Jess Kenga, Anthony Kenga, Dinga, right? Lawrence J. M. Alcairo, and Zaven W. Santos. And I will submit to you that the names on these lists are the ones that went on and had brilliant careers outside of government. Brilliant careers outside, finding capital, putting it at risk, going to work every day, taking a product and trying to get it in front of consumers of one kind or another. But as I read over the list of names, how many names did you go in there? Yep, started off in the Guam Youth Congress and never left the government. Never got too far away from the bosom of the government of Guam. And this was the training wheels for all of that. And you know what the names are. You know what the names are. Nerds that turned into government nerds. How about that? 9:56, what do we got? Brad Hewitt writing in, the machine was late at RevTax because the money came in at the beginning of the fiscal year, same as plates for new vehicles. Mysteriously were made available from the vendor last year after the fiscal year, used temp plates for almost 5 months. Huh. Yeah, I guess there could have been some of that. I don't know. It might have been one of those things where it's just a matter of timing, or might have been somebody that just didn't follow up on an order that they should have made out in a timely manner. And that kind of thing will happen though at the end of the fiscal year when we don't have an RFP that has been approved for things like trash pickup back in the day. Brad writing, some in-office now need to go back to the Youth Congress for more OJT. No, that's okay. That's all right. You got one shot at it, and the rest of the time we're going to have to deal with. Isn't that what worries us? Isn't that what worries us? Yeah, getting back to a conversation I had over the weekend with people as we were talking about the rumored names and their rumored positions in the rumored new administration. A name would pop up and somebody'd go, no, that person doesn't need to be in the government anymore. That person was already in the government. They did a crappy job. And they don't need to be rewarded for doing a crappy job by getting to do a crappy job somewhere else. You know, people they clamor and jump up and down and say, "Oh, we voted change. There's a lot of change in this in this." And we got move some names around at a bunch of different places, and maybe there are a couple of new names in there. But what happens when we vote for change, but we get the same people running things now, or similar people running things now? Please don't let this new administration turn into we're going to take people with just enough name recognition and give them jobs at departments and agencies that are only a little bit important to consider so they can use that to ramp themselves into the 36th Guam legislature. We need to take that old model and break it completely. And I don't know how to do that. Maybe we'll put that on the list of things that we want Lou and Josh to fix sometime in the next couple of years. It's closing in on 10 o'clock in the morning. Can I leave you with just one random thought here this morning? Where'd it go? I had it. It ran. It was there. It jumped out. Crap! I hate that. Japan's minister and there's perfect government story. Perfect government story to underscore everything I'm talking about now. Japan's minister in charge of cybersecurity has recently admitted he has never used a computer. Did you see that? This is their head of cybersecurity. I guarantee somewhere in the government of Guam right now, somewhere in the proposed new government of Guam is somebody whose name is being proposed for administration in a position he has no clue about. Right? So when you hear those names, that's the equivalent of something being run up the flagpole to salute. So make sure that you withdraw your salute when you hear the wrong name being attached to the wrong position. And sometimes that'll get back to the guys that are making those decisions. I got to go 10 o'clock in the morning. We're KUSG, Agania, Ray Gibson Show for Michael Knight and Kevin Kerrigan and Blake Watson. Everybody. Jerry Roberts for letting me have some fun here today. I'll catch you tomorrow morning right here on this radio station. Love you. Mean it. Bye. Online at thepoint.gu. The Point is streaming now on TuneIn, Next Station, and Stream.
Race in Florida is finally over.
Republican Governor Rick Scott is headed to Washington. All 67 counties submitted their final recount numbers to the state at noon, and shortly after that, Florida's longtime three-term senator, Democrat Bill Nelson, conceded his hard-fought and down-to-the-wire loss. The Scott campaign released a statement, quote, "I just spoke with Senator Bill Nelson, who graciously conceded, and I thanked him for his years of public service. Now the campaign is truly behind us, and that's where we need to leave it." In Palm Beach County, Florida, Phil Keating, Fox News.
President Trump congratulating Scott on Twitter. Meanwhile, the president defending his appointment of Matt Whitaker as acting attorney general. Whitaker openly criticized the Russia investigation. The president telling Fox News Sunday,
"What do you do when a person's right? There is no collusion. He happened to be right. I mean, he said it."
Democrats aren't buying that explanation, though. And on ABC's This Week, Congressman Adam Schiff said his party plans to
challenge the constitutionality of Whitaker's appointment since he wasn't approved by the Senate, and said if Whitaker tries to do